Good night, good night, good night, everyone, and welcome to another episode on Success with the Stars. My name is Charisse, and I am forever your host. So, as we let everyone kind of get in tonight, we have some of the best astrologers in the game tonight with y'all. I'm gonna let everyone come in. Those of you who are currently on YouTube, come on in through YouTube. For those of you who are currently on Instagram, find us on YouTube so that we can see your comments, we can read your comments, we can pull them up. And if you guys are in the building, let us know if you hear us well, if everything is working. So we already have Jeannie in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys so much for being here. So tonight we have a lot. Tonight we have a fun topic. We have a topic that we found was super relevant. So we're gonna be starting with, you guys already know, some pop culture. We're gonna be also starting with the transits, and tonight we're going to be answering a very important question about faith, about healing, and whether or not we are healing truly as a collective, especially since we've seen just so much division lately, so much battle of the sexes, just a lot even going on politically as well. So our favorite astrologers are going to be really helping us translate the stars, seeing if we are actually moving in alignment or if there is a message that we're not actually getting. So join me as I welcome the Hoods Guru, Boro the Lucky Libra, Lotus Elysse in the building, and Umi Genevieve. So I'm still waiting for a sound. Bora, have you ever found like a clapping sound on StreamYard? Because I don't have one.
I got to search for it too. I got to update the soundboard myself.
I same, because I want when we come on there's like a yay, but we never really have it. So thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Love, love, love to see all of your faces, all of our faces on the screen next to each other. Again, those of you joining us from Instagram, make sure to hop on over on the YouTube. Just check for the Growth Project. But thank you guys so much for being tonight. I'm gonna just talk a little quickly about the breakdown. I actually already said it, and we're going to get into. So we're gonna start with the transits. First, let me just let y'all say hi. I don't even know why I'm stressing right now. Why am I rushing? Like, I'm gonna let y'all even say hi. You guys can go in order of the screen. So we can go Bora first, Lotus, then Umi.
What's popping with the congregation? Peace, salutations, sending love and vibration to everybody in the building. Ladies, you're looking good. The vibration is set. I'm ready to get into it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. All right, shout out to the church. Shout out to all you beautiful people. Happy to be here.
Lotus, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking Umi next. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Lotus Elysse here with this incredible group of people to talk shit about the transits.
Hey everybody, it's Umi Genevieve, laced in space constellations on LSD. Once again, thank you again, Charisse, for allowing me on the Growth Project, to help me, for allowing me to share this. Thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every one of you.
Thank y'all. So we're gonna start with just the current transits right now. It's Pisces season. We have a huge conjunction today. It's a lot of watery energy today, actually. Scorpio moon. We're entering, Scorpio moon, and then we have that big conjunction in Pisces. So Sun, Mercury, and Saturn conjunct today, 9 degrees. So what do you guys have any specific news for certain signs? Is there any signs that are touched more right now during this period? And just talking about the transits in general, do you guys have a message for the people out there? And again, we'll keep the same Boro, Lotus, Umi for the rest of the night, unless I ask you guys a specific question. Thank y'all.
For the most part, I think some of the main significance right now is for one, we're working our way towards a new moon. So full moon illumination energies are still strong right now. So everybody does need to be in the present as much as possible and be aware of things dealing with attachments, things that are holding you back from throwing your aspirations and goals in the air leading up into the new moon. We all know we've been dealing with the conjunction. We all been posting about it today. Okay, y'all know Saturn likes to lay the law down, and we might have already jumped into some illusions already in Pisces season. Okay, so we need to be able to use this energy to center ourselves and see the reality to things that are building up our dreams, our aspirations, building connections in our life, healing journeys, and trying to take the most practical approach towards these things. Mutable signs, hold it down. Y'all's on the hot seat, hold it down. Mutable signs, especially Virgo dominance. Okay, y'all's gonna have to find y'all balance between being practical and taking that jump, into something that you might have, held in the subconscious and haven't pushed out from a dreamy imagination perspective. All right, and then moving on with the moon going into Scorpio, going into the pre-weekend, things are going to get a little bit intense as far as how deep we're feeling on these things when it comes into our healing journey, creative aspirations, any type of blockages or restrictions we may be experiencing in the process. All right, so those are my little energetic pointers.
So we've got the moon just about to transit into Scorpio, at least in the Midwest here, based off the time. And I really want to encourage people to really be like releasing the things that are not good for you anymore. And I really want to, with the moon still like at 29 degrees Libra right now, stop giving yourself a pass for a type of self-harm that is actually a toxic relationship that you're in. I think like as the moon is diminishing in light, it is releasing things. It is in a shedding phase. So I think that you should also be shedding those types of toxic things that are no longer helping you grow spiritually, mentally, all of the things, especially if you are someone who is, one of the majority that's always like, when am I going to find love? When am I going to find love? And as we are preparing for all these planets to enter Pisces, especially the personal planets, and people are going to have love on the brain again, it's really time to create that space. It's time to shed those layers. It's time to stop self-harming in toxic relationships, both romantic and platonic, because they're weighing you down with energetic baggage. That's what I got.
Love that. Thank you for that, Elysse. I'm gonna put you on the spot, Umi. Go ahead.
I was just caught lighting my blunt. So with the transits, one important thing I want to center is that it's in Aquarius, a lot of Aquarius energy. So where, especially with relationships, so piggybacking off what Lotus was saying, with relationships and where it needs to go a little platonic right now. Like, you need to be my best friend right now, more than it being so intense and overwhelming and enmeshed. Right now, there's an energy where couples need to rearrange themselves and give more room, space. Allow each other to grow. Look at in spaces where it's about understanding each other. Since Aquarius is an energy that's more about like our self-expression, our own identities, how we stand out of groups. So right now within the couples, it's important to look at your partner as an individual, not always something that's an extension of you. Leo opposition. Another thing, since it's fixed, right now it's really big for farmers, those who want to do agriculture, for the fixed signs, especially eating habits, nutrition, just really reworking what you consume has been important for the fixed signs. So that's really important with that fixed energy, since there is an Aquarius energy here, and also Piscean, where we want to learn better habits and just take out things that can be excessive in our life. And also with Aquarius, looking at your partner as an individual. Right now, it's really important about doing me. I want to center there's a meme going out, but there's a post going out right now with a girl who was caught up on stage and she was dancing with this guy and her boyfriend went crazy and everyone's going crazy. But it's even showing with that energy why right now it's important with giving your partner autonomy. They're their own person. And that's important with Aquarius. So I just wanted to share that.
I mean, before we go forward, since you brought up that video, I mean, I feel like it is important to give our partner autonomy, but I don't know if that video is the perfect example.
So all of that, even with Alicia Keys being an Aquarius herself, and just the overall theme of your partner is allowed to have they're their own person. And it's okay if they're their own person. It's not about you in that way. But I use that example because we need extremists. And that's an extreme situation. We need radicals.
I literally came from a birthday party this weekend and everyone was discussing the same thing, and they literally brought up the same examples. Which one is okay, which one is not. And it's crazy because all the guys in the room were like, both situations are not okay. Even Alicia Keys. And I'm like, Alicia Keys? They're like entertainers. And it wasn't even nothing too crazy. So, but seeing it from guys' perspective, they're like, nah, as a guy, it still hurts, even though they're entertainers. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like this is the conversation. But with the girl on the other side, like she kissed him and stuff like that, I was like, nah, that's extreme. That's too much. That's disrespectful, I feel, as a partner. You guys can butt in and let me know what you think before we continue.
Wait, I dropped out for a second. So what's the video clip that we're talking about?
I don't know the artist on hand. Maybe Oma. Hope I'm saying this right. Oma. It's a Afrobeats artist. So she goes to a date. She goes to a concert with her partner, and she gets called on stage. So when she gets called on stage, they drop like a veil. She goes behind it. They're dancing. She's grinding. She kisses him. But everyone's like, yo, that's a one in a lifetime type of moment. But then other people are like, well, that's disrespectful, because they started recording her boyfriend. And then it went crazy. He got invited.
Okay, yeah, I did see that. Why she gotta kiss him though? Like dancing, okay, dancing is different, but why you gotta kiss him? Like what? I think that's inappropriate on both sides. Like
so
if it was the man
my
on stage or if it was the woman on stage, like why y'all gotta kiss? Y'all can perform. I've dated artists, and like there's a difference between performance and boundary crossing.
I'm gonna just throw it to the chat real quick. What do y'all think? For the ladies, like, what do y'all think? For the men, what do y'all think? Also, I'm gonna ask the ladies in the room, if you get called up on stage by your favorite artist, are you going? And
Yes,
are you? Yeah, I mean, I would go, but I would have boundaries, but I would still go.
Yeah, I would have boundaries, but I'm definitely going to go up on the stage. Are you kidding me? Leo Moon, 1,000%, I'm going on the stage. I'm touching the person, whatever. Like we're putting on a performance, but it's going to be respectful of my partner, 100%.
Boro, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this.
I haven't seen this clip, but all I heard was kissing, and that's a no-no for me. I don't think it should be. Somebody in the chat just said kissing is a bit much for any random. Like I'm not kissing any random in general. Like so I get it. It's an experience. I just think it's just respect and boundaries, you know. I'll just be honest with y'all from just my male perspective. Like I don't even know if I really want to even go to a concert with my girlfriend, and it's a lot of things that got to be in place depending on what's going on. And if my girl gets the opportunity to get on stage with Usher or motherfucking Trey Songz, I'm gonna just look at her like, I'm gonna just give her that look, let her make her decision, and however we handle that, whatever transpires after that, transpires after that, and that's that. I just wanted to butt in about the Usher thing. I didn't see that in full neither. I did just see the pictures that ended up going viral and everything. And my first raw reaction to it was like, damn, what was that all really needed? But at the end of the day, they're entertainers, and you have to understand what you're signing up for if you're going to be in a relationship or marry an entertainer. Like you have to know what you're signing up for. Then again, it's like, I don't even know if Usher and Alicia Keys was that close in the My Boo video, let alone what they did on stage or whatnot. So different strokes for different folks. Ain't nobody finna kiss my girl on stage. That's all I know about that.
I'm actually pulling up the video because some people didn't really see it. So I'm gonna pull up the video, see if I can share it. The Usher and Alicia Keys in the My Boo video was actually way worse than the Super Bowl, but people were saying that was before she had her husband. So I get it. So let's see if I can just for entertainment purposes. Do you guys see my screen? . Are you guys seeing the screen? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So this is the video. Laura, watch your girl.
I say 1,000% no. Oh no! I think you can see his piece too. Like you can see everything. And then she's basically wearing panties and pantyhose, and there was way too much groping. And like I know
I think
that's
this is
how they
enough.
do in that dance hall shit with that hard humping, but that's way too much.
My girl gonna have to find a ride home. I'm sorry.
That is too much. It's too much sexual simulation happening.
That is very selfish, guys.
Wow.
So y'all, that was the video. So do the opinions stay the same? I'm trying to see if Usher.
They were in front row. He definitely bought the tickets. They were like, that's why she got chose. Like, you know, she chose up.
No. I think that was inappropriate on both ends. And I don't know if he's single or not, but that's too much. They was doing the most.
Spot on. You gotta be careful in them front row seats. I'm taking my girl to a Trey Songz Usher concert with our ass in the balcony like a mug.
And the nosebleeds. She was like, you cheap, man.
You're muted, babe.
It's the only way we know how to rock. It started when we were younger.
Ursha and Alicia Keys taking.
We, not only made music together, but we support each other.
While it was speculated ahead of time,
That's how the
Started when we were younger. Now another brother's taking over, but it's feeling alright. That's my way. Started when we were younger. Now another brother's
I can't find the exact video, and I don't want to put too much time.
That's my way. Started when we were younger.
It wasn't anything.
Usher, the
crazy.
king of R&B himself.
It wasn't anything too crazy, but people still said that it was too much because she had a husband and stuff like that. And to Umi's point, like it brought back the whole like Keke Palmer thing. And I think like that's important as well to tie in, because I feel like in those situations when it's two entertainers, even with Keke, I didn't find a problem with it. But a random girl go up on stage, do all of that, kiss a guy, I feel like that's a little bit too much. Y'all are funny. My blood would have been boiling. I agree with you, Boro. You said she would have had to find a ride home. The guy left like directly after. They saw him going home by himself. But yeah, that was just a funny. I like Umi brought up the perfect video to even talk about. So let's talk a little bit about Saturn return. Someone else that has been really going through it in the public eye is Wendy Williams. And she's currently going through her Saturn return right now. I wanted to just show her chart really quickly and see if you guys had anything to say in terms of the Saturn return, I know a lot of us have Saturn in Pisces right now, and I just wanted you all to just talk about Saturn in Pisces in general. But if we could use Wendy Williams as an example as well, and see how we can actually see from the chart how Saturn in Pisces is affecting her. I'm gonna see if I could pull up her chart really quickly. But if anyone wants to start, you can go ahead, Boro. I know that you did a post on that recently on your YouTube, so you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I had made a post. At first glance, when I looked at her chart, I seen the Saturn Pisces in the first house retrograde 4 degrees. So I really just made a little thread talking about that. I did a little bit more of an extended post on Patreon. But what sticks out to me about Wendy Williams, with her being in her Saturn return right now, 59 years old, uh her Saturn is opposing Pluto and Uranus in her 7th house. And I think that's so significant because when we're looking at karmic influences with Saturn, these are things that we're gonna have to learn how to see the reality to, learn how to place restrictions on it, learn how to work with it over time. So having that Pluto and Uranus in that 7th house influence, two of the most transformative planets in the solar system. They're going to deal with a lot of power and control energies, and it makes me wonder what type of agreements, contracts, doors that she's walked into, within the industry, with the success she's had, in quote unquote Hollywood, or in the entertainment world, and how that may have backfired on things, either dealing with her guilt and how she might be using coping mechanisms through Saturn and Pisces to deal with those things. Sometimes you can see this you can see artists have a high when they first come into the game, whether it's an actor, but we could see this more so with like musicians, and they get to a point, a lot of them get into like a depressive state. We don't be knowing what be going on sometimes in the industry with a lot of these situations. And Uranus got a lot of influences dealing with, like, Freemasonry, secret society, this, that, and the third. So I know there could be a huge buildup dealing with just personal karma and it catching up to her with the way she hasn't been able to regulate things dealing with her relationship life. But I think there's just a lot of things that might have got caught up, and she might have not, established the right healthy, coping mechanisms for these things. And lastly, she has a whole water trine. So her sun and moon are harmonizing. She's a moon in Scorpio, sun in Cancer, right? Those two planets are not directly hitting Saturn. They're not directly harmonizing with Saturn. But then again, when I see these type of alignments, somebody that got planets in every element, in every sign of an element, this is showing me you have some experience dealing with that element. So I've been saying this for a while now, guys, with great power come great responsibility. So Wendy Williams' lack of application with things dealing with her intuition, not understanding how to capitalize and apply herself after past situations, past situations, right? Not taking the application, not asserting herself when it comes into, taking initiative for things with her healing journey and all of that. Like her Saturn will come down hard on her because she has intuition. Yes, she has very deep intuition with these things, So that was my little light brief perspective on that, but I definitely went a little bit more in depth on the breakdown that I did.
Go ahead, Lotus.
When I look at her chart, I see two huge red flags. First of all, like all the water, and something I tell clients all the time that have a lot of water in their chart is that water takes on the environment of which it's in, because it just absorbs whatever it's in. It's going to take up the shape, the space, the minerals, everything. And so it's really important when you are heavy water in your chart that you surround yourself with good people and that you also have good spiritual hygiene. And secondly, with her immutable MC, that Sag MC getting squared natally by her Saturn, but now in her Saturn return, it's like doubling down. It's time to clean up your network. It's time to clean up your circle. I think that she has too many yes men around her, too many lazy yes men, because she's got that Jupiter and Taurus, that's the ruler of that MC. So there's just like people who are just hanging out, getting fat off what she's doing. They're energetic leeches. They are siphoning resources, and they're just, keeping her it really feels like she's just being imprisoned by her employees, that sixth house sun. Like, I don't know. It just feels like she's being imprisoned by her employees, by her group, by her network, you know, because of the company she has kept over the years, and how she has had extremely weak boundaries, like that Saturn in the second with Chiron and that Pisces second house. It's like, what are your boundaries? Like, do you even know what boundary means? You know, and this house is that ocean energy and that Neptune energy, and then there's Saturn there. So this is something that looks like it's taking a lifetime to master, and that this was probably a theme during her first Saturn return around 27, 28. And it's really looking like she hasn't mastered what Saturn has been trying to, you know, get her to do. And now it's time to, like, you know, Saturn's busting some kneecaps right now. Like, straight up.
Umi.
When looking at her
Thank you.
chart,
Sorry. Thank you, Elysse, for that.
when looking at her chart, I look at that second house and just her love of escapism. Wendy is someone like I really love, like followed her, like know her journey. So she's like always let you know that she was in love with cocaine. Like cocaine's her thing, right? So that second house is just looking at that with that escapism. It's her love of or her need of needing to be able to be on the clouds in some way to really get some initiative done, to even meet people, to program with people. So from the beginning, Wendy has had a close connection to the white. Like, so it even shows the basis here as well. Now, another thing is her moon is fixed. And one thing about having a fixed moon, you will never go broke. So when Wendy tells you she ain't got no money, Wendy's capping. Wendy has money. This is money for her right now. She's making money just through this. So her
fixed signs is always going to play broke. That is a fact. Like, sorry, I ain't got it. And then they're like, what the hell?
You just rolled out with a new whip? Like, what?
You just had 7 Amazon packages delivered. Fuck you, me, you ain't got no money.
I ain't giving it for you. I just ain't got it for you, you know? So just with that, and her Jupiter being in the 4th house, her Jupiter with that Taurus energy opposing the moon, not in a close, let's see, opposition. Yeah, pretty close opposition. So Wendy has the money. I personally feel Jupiter in the 4th house. She wanted to spite her husband to not pay him any alimony anymore. So she got a person to now negotiate it and now she's smart. She's very intuitive. And she'll play that way. Play second house Pisces. I don't know. Me. That basis there. Also, she's an Aquarius. So if this basis or a chart, Aquarius rising. So Wendy wanted to spite her husband. I believe that.
Wendy, if you're seeing this, can you confirm? But as you're saying that, remind me of the time where she was on her show and she was like falling and everything, and I always ask myself, was that real or was that for the views? Very interesting takes. Very interesting takes. So talk to us. All of you guys talked about the Saturn return and it just being a very important period. And you know, if we go through our first Saturn return and we don't learn the lessons, that they're gonna come back around the second Saturn return. So just quickly, in your words, can you guys just explain what the Saturn return is for those of us who still don't know, and what does it mean in our astrological timeline? Like, why does it come at a certain point, like 27, 28 years old? Why does this period happen? Like, what does it mean astrologically for a Saturn return? Like, why is it important? You can go, Burrow.
So when it comes into any planetary return in our chart, guys, in general, I've seen this to be a transit in our lives where we need to show universe that, you know, we have experience here. We have some form of experience here, right? You don't go to college for 4 years and come back to your neighborhood, come back to your family, and you the same person. You got the same form of knowledge or wisdom, right? So it's going to be even responsibility with any type of return. This is why even sometimes during our birthdays, guys, depending on where you are at life, that sometimes your birthdays, you ain't that much in the mood because you're really self-reflecting on where you are from a self-identity perspective, okay? So when we're looking at Saturn, and Saturn is dealing with reality, structure, things that we need to learn how to discipline and place time into. Okay, when that point comes back around during that 27 through 30 range, right, and then once again for the second time between that 57 to 60 range, because it's going to take that long, that 30-year range to make its transit. I've seen the second Saturn return to be kind of more harsh than the first Saturn return, and I've seen that to happen like that because it's almost like that first Saturn return is somewhat of a grace period. It's like, okay, we've been letting you explore in your 20s, but these 3 years, we're going to throw you all the significant signals and things you've been missing out on when it comes into making sure your reality, is more solid, more stable in some type of shape or form. So from what I've been seeing just through my personal studies, it be looking like that age 30 to 33 and then also to 36 is way more harsh than the Saturn return period, because that was your grace period. Saturn restricted, and depending on where you have Saturn at in your chart, it's created all type of circumstances for you in that space to understand, like, damn, I can't be feeding that. I can't be participating into that. Damn, I got this attachment with that. I got to regulate this in my life, or my reality is always going to be unstable. Like, whatever it may be when it comes into Saturn principles, 2730, you're actually going through your trials. You're actually getting initiated to understand these things. Okay. So I've really been studying that period right after 30. Now it's like, okay, class is in session. Just like how I say with retrograde periods, it's kind of similar to retrograde periods. Retrograde, we're revising, we're reflecting. We're getting these signals as to what we need to do homework on. But when we go direct, all right, now it's time to take that that pop quiz. You feel me? So that's how I look at it. And, also, if you look at Saturn, when you look at the rings around Saturn, these rings are representing, cycles of consciousness. So when we come around these periods, 30, 60, you need to be able to display some form of consciousness at this point. Niggas be 30 sometimes, and okay, you may not be unstable, you may not be stable, you may not be where you want to be from a career perspective, but your noggin got to be somewhat screwed on right, and niggas still be floating around this age, and that's when Saturn return could seem more intense than a grace period, when you don't got that type of initiative dealing with stability and application when it comes into discipline. So that's my perspective on Saturn returns, coming from a brother that's full of Saturn energy.
Lotus.
I always describe Saturn return as when you are finally seen as an adult through to the eyes of the universe. So this is like your coming of age. This is like your quinceañera kind of thing, but it's like with the universe. This is when you transit into adulthood. And the few years after Saturn return, like Boro was saying, you're still sort of on this up and up. And when you hit 34, 35, when you hit 35, you're in a 12th house perfection year. And so if you didn't pay off enough karmic debt with Saturn, 35 is really when you're going to really feel that. Also, for Wendy's second Saturn return, she's dealing with a lot of Neptune and Jupiter, and everyone's attacking her moon, who is the ruler of her sun. So there is just like so much cerebral baggage that like with how all the aspects are bouncing around in her chart, she is plummeting down the rabbit hole into drugs and alcohol. Like it's I feel bad for her, to be honest. Like it's real. I'm someone who has personally dealt with drug addiction in my own life. I have a chapter, I have my scumbag era days too. So like, I can imagine like how isolating and lonely that is, and how you are your own worst enemy. And she's dealing with Pluto and her rising and all this energy on her Scorpio moon that already is so hard on themselves, and then we got Saturn and Neptune, and it's just like it's a lot. Like I really feel bad for baby girl. I really do, because Saturn return is already such a difficult time. You were in this portal of karmic and fated events that you signed up to they're part of your adventure story, and like you signed up to go through these tests and to pay off these types of balances on your tab with Saturn. And he definitely does not forget, and he keeps meticulous records. So Saturn return oftentimes hits people really hard. especially Saturn in I don't know. I would say like every Saturn sign, really. I don't think there's a Saturn sign where they kind of like have it a little more easy breezy. I think that all of them are really difficult.
Thank you. Umi?
One thing I like to tell people, like with their Saturn energy, is that you have initial periods to know what's coming. So since Saturn initially has 7 rings, or like it was known to have 7 rings, every 7 years you'll go to a cycle of letting you understand what your Saturn return is going to look like. Your first one is at 7 years old, and it's a square. So your first one is at 7 years old. Next 7 years, 14. The first one is a Saturn square. Second one is a Saturn opposition, 14 years old. Just like Lotus was saying, like a quinceañera. That's why around 14 years old, kids get a little feisty. They're going through a Saturn transit in opposition. Also around 7 years old, first grade, second grade, kids get a little feisty. They're coming to their Saturn energy. Just work. Each of your Saturn signs are going to be, those Saturn transits are going to be in the same modality. So that already lets you know what your Saturn return is going to be like, because they're all in the same modality. So your first one at 7 years old, second one at 14, second one, third one at 21. Everyone knows how at 21 is a big one. Then after the 21, there's the big honcho, Saturn return. But before you have your Saturn return, you have first 3 transits that lets you know what you're working in. So your first one's a square, opposition, then square, then return. And then the big one, everyone thinks their 29th is, but what I see, the big one is their 36th birthday, because your 36th birthday is when you have your second, after you're done that cycle, you're done with your Saturn return, that's when you come into your another cycle of a square. So that's why people's 36 birthdays are huge, even in the perfection chart. Your first house, growing period, you just went through 4 Saturn transits, like you're like, woof, you're in the game now. 36 is also a very sensitive time for people's mental health. This is actually a identity crisis age, 36, especially since it's in your first house to begin with. But you already can know what your Saturn return is just from the first 3 cycles, 7, 14, 21. And by 14 years old, you can see what someone's Saturn return could look like, where they're feisty at, where they're still trying to fight authoritative at. So just know that your Saturn transits are all in the same modality, fixed, cardinal, mutable. So that already lets you know what your Saturn return can be. It could be a big move. Could be a big financial, nutrition, could be a big job. You'll know by 14, 21, okay, what you're building up to, the 7 rings.
Someone asked, how long is the Saturn return? Any of you can go.
Oh, it's like about, I'd say like at least 2 years, because you have Saturn applying and separating, and Saturn moves very slowly, and there's likely going to be a retrograde at some point too.
Do we all agree? Perfect.
And then also, if you think about Saturn, because I didn't even think about how the squares and all the important Saturn transits are going to be in the same modality as your Saturn. And I'm over here like, yeah, damn, like I got a mutable Saturn. Like, I didn't even think about that. And Saturn doesn't rule a mutable sign, natally. Like Saturn is cardinal or fixed, and Saturn really likes structure and rules and, enforcing those kinds of things. And in immutable, that's not what mutables even stand for. Mutables are like, well, we could try something else. Like maybe there's a different way to do things. Like let's pivot. And that's really not what Saturn is about. So, Saturn is uncomfortable in a mutable sign because he really wants structure, order, discipline, consistency, and mutables are not built that way.
We have Joe Ali in the building. Shout out to you. Thank you for always being at all of our lives, baby girl. She said Saturn in Pisces is a blindside effect to me. The shit I've been through thus far was completely off my radar, like completely unaware. What do you guys, how do you translate Saturn in Pisces? So for those of us who are going through a Saturn return right now, but also just in general in a collective way, how do you translate Saturn being the planet of like everything that you guys said, like structure, discipline, even in some spaces, karma, now being in the last sign of Pisces, and also just being in this watery realm of intuition and not that much structure as well. So how do you guys translate that for the collective? You can use examples as well to show us like this happening. This is so Saturn and Pisces, by the way. So you guys can use examples as well. But I'm very interested to know, how do you translate that for the collective? Can go ahead, Boro.
So, like you said, look at the themes of Pisces: dreamy, imaginative, formless, connected to the astral realm. I'll be making jokes saying Pisces dominance. Y'all don't even be coming down here all the way. Y'all be like 40% on Earth, 60% still up there. All right. So Pisces, the sign, is the representative of the 12th house. So we have, from a positive perspective, right, the positive creations from your imagination, your creative endeavors or whatnot, things dealing with healing, because the 12th house is also dealing with, remember, we got that mutable aspect now. So it's dealing with not just your subconscious, how you're able to understand the subconscious of others. This is why Pisces, they could walk into an environment, they're picking up way too many vibes, This is why when it comes to a lot of Pisces dominance, they like being in their own little sacred space a lot of time. Also similar to most water dominance. But then when we got the dark side of that 12th house Pisces space, illusions, delusions, lostness, institutions, all right, the opposite of sober, okay? And it don't matter how we got to get there. Is it going to be a cigarette, a drink, some shrooms? What is it going to be, okay? So when we put Saturn here, we have to be able to not only understand how we take the initiative to build things up with our dreams, right? Build things up with our creative endeavors. But when it comes into attachments, it gets really serious with Saturn here. It gets really serious. And I believe in some type of shape or form. Yeah, when it comes into things dealing with addictions, attachments, you can't do these things by yourself. But Saturn transits Pisces, and we have to take the initiative to acknowledge our attachments. We have to take the initiative to acknowledge that we got to get some shadow work done, and start putting restrictions on things. So the people that are continuing to live in a sense of, floatiness and delusion, like, no, it's okay, the weed ain't no problem. No, it's okay. It's just a drink or two to get me through the day. It ain't that bad. Like, this is the issue. Is one thing, and they tell you this in AA meetings and whatnot. It starts with addressing that you have an issue. If we can't address you have an issue, that is a problem. And I think Saturn's coming down the hardest on those individuals. And also with Pisces, I like to call it 12th house the pregnancy space, the womb space. What's the next house? The first house. The first house dealing with new beginnings. The first house is dealing with birth energy. Okay, so in the 12th house, we get to cultivate what's those things. What traits do we have in our imagination? What experience do we have with certain things that we could start to throw into the first house to birth? So Saturn gets in here, and what is Saturn's theme? Is IU. Saturn wants to see what tools it has in here to build something. What does Saturn have in Pisces in the 12th house? Your imagination, your creativity, your spiritual awareness. This is what Saturn is working with right now. So people that can't look at spirituality as a tool, people that can't look at their creative attributes as a tool, they're the ones most likely struggling with a lot of these things, to be honest with you. And once again, a Saturn transit is going to be challenging in general. It just is what it is. Okay. But for the most part, being able to acknowledge how you're going to place time into building things up using your spiritual creative awareness, I think that's huge. And I kind of predicted that with Saturn getting into Pisces, things dealing with spirituality or whatnot is going to become a little bit more mainstream. You're going to see these things. You're going to see more astrologers and spiritualists and tarot readers on your explore page and whatnot. Saturn does have, you got to look at the houses Saturn is home in. It's home in the 10th and 11th house. This is the top of the chart. This is dealing with a lot of branding, business, structure, foundation. So you're going to start seeing more increments of that. But that's really the insight and guidance to help people use the age of Aquarius and that influence. Like, damn, maybe I should pay attention to that astrologer. Maybe I should pay attention to this spiritualist. Maybe I should pay attention to this holistic health group that's helping me, that could help me shift my diet and my forms of wellness to be more stable. So that's always going to be a huge theme dealing with Saturn in Pisces. Are you maximizing your creative and spiritual tools, and are you looking at them as tools in the first place? Are you even looking at them as tools to shift your reality?
Thank you, Pastor.
I like to think of Saturn and Pisces as a like stone, or like the thing in the fish tank that purifies the water, something that is filtering the water in a fish tank. So Saturn, although his energy is very punishing, or it feels very punishing, he's also really working to help purify your Pisces house. He is also helping to purify where his ancient ruler, or his modern day ruler, Jupiter, is at. So it's going to pull in your Taurus house. And then we have, Neptune actually at home in Pisces, where he is very comfortable and super strong. And so we're really working to purify the themes of these houses. So with Pisces, some of the things in the 12th house, like I like to describe the 12th house as the fortress of solitude. So it is like, what do you do when you are alone and no one is watching? How do you escape from yourself? How do you escape reality? What do you like to indulge in? This is a house of completion, of endings, of undoing. And then when you think about it through the lens of Neptune and Jupiter, Neptune is going to bring in like infectious disease and substances. It's going to bring in like synthetic drugs and alcohol and rose-colored glasses, and really sort of like being in the marshmallow space is what I call it. And then we have Jupiter, and Jupiter is in Taurus, where some of the ways you may be escaping is going to be shopping and spending a bunch of money, eating too many carbs, eating too much sugar, like being overly self-indulgent. And all of these things can definitely be very self-destructive. And then building off what Burrow said, Pisces rules institutions like jail and mental health facilities. So it's also about purifying your mental health and purifying your spirit and connecting those back to each other, so that you are connected and have access to the power of Pisces, which is like the ocean and water element, and water holds memory. And so you're tapping into all of the knowledge of the universe as you purify your Pisces things. And also it deals with people who are like on the outskirts of civilization, so to speak. So it's going to deal with the homeless and the disenfranchised and people that are immigrants coming from faraway places. And so these are also themes that are coming up, and you see this in the news, especially because Saturn, I think of sort of like a planet when we think about warfare too, because Saturn is about strategy and resilience and and structure and borders and all of that thing. So it's about bringing law and order and purification and structure to things that are typically formless.
Thank you for that, Lotus.
Powerful. Yes, powerful. And what Lotus said, exactly. Like, what is Pisces, the opposite of Virgo? No boundaries. So where's the borders? There's conversations about, should there be borders, border control, or just the basis of that overall, where we as a community, as a collective, are fighting over borders, boundaries. So important with that. Another thing is, I like to look at patterns, cycles. So the last time we were here was 1994 to 1996. So around that era, right? So that era, the grunge era, the minimalists, the psychedelics, the basis of wanting to escape from this realm. So that 94 to 1996, it just was open up that basis of a lot of the poetic energy. When I think of it, I think of Kurt Cobain. I think of, even as we moved into 96, 97, Erykah Badu's, the neo soul. Remember around 96 in hip hop, a lot of people died. A lot of rappers were killed. So this was a time where the collective wanted to come into more of a hippie era, an era of love and connection. And even prior to that, if we go now to the 60s, in that era as well. So as we look into 60, with this era, we're going to look at the mid 60s to late 60s, right? So this is the energy of another freedom era, hippie era, Woodstock. There's a war. We just had there was a war going on in there. I don't want to misquote the war. I don't know if it's a Gulf War. I don't want to misquote the war, but there was a war that had just went on, and this is when Bob was coming into his way. So late 60s, early 70s, right? This Bob movie coming out right now. So we're in a Woodstock era. It's just more of a futuristic way. So like Boro was saying, you're going to see astrology in like the commercials. You're going to see people just saying it now. And like, what's your sign? Do you do tarot? Do you do cardiology? What's your human design? It's going to become a norm since we're in this era of like a virtual futuristic hippie era. So that base is there. So right now, even with if you're on like social media and like looking at the content that's the most popular, farming and minimalists and just this overall less is more, philanthropists. So we're in this era right now. So that's why I even feel like right now to gloat and to show off your material, the collective may not receive it well right now. They might feel like there's people dying, there's people struggling. So we don't really want to see that basis. So I feel like that's where the collective is at right now with Saturn and Pisces, where we're in this hippie era. And just follow the cycles. Last time he was here, the mid to late 90s. Last time before that, the mid to late 60s. And why those are even freedom fighter eras. We're in that right now. So just that.
I do want to piggyback on something Lotus and Umi brought up. Like, as far as like you seeing that era of the 90s where Saturn was in Pisces, and when you're bringing up the genres of neo soul and whatnot, you could even see the consciousness in hip hop around that time. And it's not just about people talking about spirituality and whatnot. It had like a rebellious sense to it. You feel me? Like, when you talking about like Cypress Hill groups or whatnot, like you have these Pisces, 12th house, is still dealing with groupings in a way. 12th house energy is still doing groupings, but like-minded of the spirit, people that like-minded spiritually, you feel me, especially creatively. So you could just see that sense of consciousness back in the day in hip-hop and in music, especially you bringing up Kurt Cobain. I'm a Nirvana fan, all right? You don't get more conscious than that. You don't get more conscious than that, all right? And then just two,
yes, 95. Yes, 95 till infinity. Sorry, it's just someone said that exactly. Illmatic, Fuji's, like, yes,
best music ever created. Because Saturn is also about mastery, and Pisces is music and film and art. So it's like, plus their partner is Virgo, so it's very much so doing things and just being the best at what you do, and creating some of the most elite, top floor, top shelf everything. It's very beautiful in that way.
They were literally working from spirit. Everything just seems so regurgitated from a surface level point of view. And when we're looking at music and a lot of forms of hip hop, and I gotta represent for Saturn real quick. Y'all know I'm Saturn's favorite nephew, right? If y'all ain't know, okay. But one thing about Saturn, guys, is so many fruits that can manifest out of you working with Saturn properly. And with it being in Pisces right now, what is just bringing up institutions and things getting lost in the Pisces 12th house space. You associating yourself with, what I like to call crack packs, all right? You dealing with people that enable your attachments and your highs and your negative coping mechanisms. You just continuing to associate yourself with people like that. You will end up in the wrong place at the wrong time with Saturn in Pisces, and might end up having to do a little bit. Might end up having to have a little Saturn punishment because you can't put attachments on these type of people. And on the same sense, you being devoted to what you're structuring, building, taking the initiative to utilize all the awareness you have for things to heal yourself in some type of shape or form. That's going to push you right into some form of space to meet tribe members, to meet people who resonate with you, with the things that you need on your journey to grow. All right. So I know there's a lot of y'all in the chat, a lot of y'all in the building right now. Y'all taking the initiative this past year since Saturn been in Pisces. Well, we about to have like a year anniversary. Saturn enter Pisces, what, like sometime early spring or whatnot, early spring. So we about to be a year down with this transit, and a lot of you guys are already manifesting new relationships because y'all taking the initiative to heal different things in your life, and different mates is coming into your life, different business partners is coming into your life to help you grow things. So let's not negate all the positivity or the fruits and things that could be built and structured in our life, working with that sense of discipline. All right, guys, because y'all be giving my uncle a bad rap.
I want to jump into as well with Saturn and Pisces, since it's about foreign lands. This is also a time for retreats. People are really into going to retreats, going away to go find some sort of healing in that supernatural way, right? Mushrooms. I'm going with a blank right now, but those types of basis of the psychedelic, the higher
Ayahuasca.
Yes, ayahuasca. Yeah, ayahuasca. That basis there. So just this is where it's at as well, where people want to find that. People are also willing to move over. Like this started since 2021 when Jupiter was moving into Pisces, but even more now since Saturn's in Pisces, where a lot of us feel like maybe I can live in another country. Maybe I can live in and have more of the life I want, this dream life, living somewhere that's not necessarily in this hustle and bustle of the matrix. So that's been a push for a lot of mutables, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, since 2021. But now it's even more of a push since Saturn wants to give you that, that firm, that guidance, and just that initiative as well. So this is very important for those questioning out there. Like, do I have to stay here? Is this like really the borders that I need to stay, that I can stay in? Is important as well. So taking retreats right now, I feel like that's very important as well for Aries and Libra placements. Want to take these solo journeys and go towards these routes within these retreats to find themselves. So retreats is a big thing. And if you are mutable, maybe you should throw some events that bring in that kind of retreat flavor, festival flavor.
As a mutable myself, I can definitely attest to what you're saying, that I'm literally in the position of saying, hey, since I kind of work online anyways, do I really need to stay here, pay taxes here? Almost freaking, in Canada, we're like almost 50% of our taxes go to the government, 50% of our income, I mean. So most definitely, Umi, from our conversations that I'm just looking to move, like go to another fucking country. I don't care. It's more about like the quality of life. Like if I'll have a better quality of life over there and I'm able to do my thing, like why stay in this type of energy, in this hustle and grind? No one gives a fuck. Like why? So I can definitely just attest to what you said. Lotus, I think you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's me too. Like I keep joking that I'm entering like my gypsy timeline again. Like my gypsy past life is coming back because I'm ready to just like be a vagabond with my laptop and a deck of cards. Like that's all I need to heal the people, to spread my message, and to make some money. Okay. Like I've got the botanica, but like I could still be mobile and travel. And I have Saturn and Sag. Yes, that ages me. I don't care. But I have Saturn and Sag. So I'm in that first Saturn square that Umi mentioned earlier. And I'm definitely feeling that itch for movement, to do something, to travel, to explore, wanderlust, like especially like with that Sag, like with it aspecting my Sag, it's like, okay, like what are we going to do? And then I get Jupiter entering my 9th house. It's like, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? What's our next thing? Like I need another hit kind of thing. Like that's what it's really feeling like. And I'm ready to also take off to another country. Like I'm really looking for a higher quality of life. Whatever that looks like.
We need the mobile botanica. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's for sure. I'm gonna get a short bus and convert it. That's next on the list.
Exactly. Oh, that would be so cool. Umi, were you gonna say something? I think I saw your hand itch a little bit.
Oh no, I'm just driving. I'm grabbing my drink.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, digital nomad, absolutely. Just to go back on what we were saying earlier as well, we made a point of just like Boros the same way, like astrology just being super important right now. We're seeing it everywhere. Shout out to you, Keen. Same literal example I had in my head too. I don't know if you guys saw, but JLo had a whole kind of movie for a video shoot. I don't even know what it was for. I think it was for a song or an album or a tour. I don't even know what it was for, but it was the
Yeah, she
whole
tried to do
astrology.
like her a lemonade kind of thing. So she made a whole movie that's the music video.
Like a visual album. And in the visual album, it's all different celebrities and stars, and they all represent a sign, an archetype. So we had Leo, and it was played by different stars in there. No one comes to mind right now, but yeah, like astrology is fully taking over. It's fully taking over, and it was big. Like people really loved it. It really freaking landed. And whenever I see this, I'm just like, wow, they're capitalizing. Astrology is real. And I think every astrologer always say, they're using this. And I feel like nobody believes. But then when you see it so blatantly, you're like, duh. Like they even started with her placement. She's like, oh, I thought Leo and Libra worked out. And then like it was just so well done. And I'm like, wow, I wonder who they had on that team, because it was really well done. Even for the placements of the people, like the celebrities who they represented, it was really well done. So very interesting. Wonder who they had on that team for sure. Let me just pull out this thing. So as we're talking about Saturn and Pisces, I feel all of you brought up super duper pertinent points when it comes to Saturn and Pisces, and the whole moving even too, and the migration. But let's talk a little bit about the topic of faith and God, because I think like each of you brought up the word faith, but where does God lie in this? Like especially with Saturn and Pisces, we're seeing right now. I don't know if this is going to sound bad, but we're seeing religion make a comeback, if we could say it like this. I feel like before, I don't want to say all religion. I would just say maybe more like, I grew up Catholic. So let me just throw that out there. I grew up Catholic. And for the longest while, I feel like it was after a while I didn't get that serious, but then COVID happened. And now I like now I'm seeing a bunch of people start getting baptized. So all of that. So it's making a comeback. But in the spiritual world as well, with this transit, what do we have to say about faith and God? And what is this? What is the transit saying about this? I don't know if my question is making sense, but I don't know if you guys are seeing it too. I'm just seeing a lot of questioning faith, a lot of questioning God. What is God right now? Is the transit actually pointing to that? Like this questioning or this crisis of faith that many people are going through right now? I think that is my question. Thank you guys for waiting for me to get it out. Bora.
You know, I believe the good book does speak about discipline. And I think from my personal perspective is I like to remind my church and everybody that taps in with me that, you're not the creation, you are the creator. I believe we're all increments of God. And there's levels to what God is. And Saturn transit in Pisces is helping people to see the God in themselves, because when we come into this realm, when we choose to inhibit these bodies and we come into this realm, we're indoctrinated since day one. We got the traditions of our family. We got the traditions of our neighborhood, the religion of our parents, what they want us to do for career. We're already, before we start getting to a space where we can start making decisions for ourselves, spiritual development has so much to do with unlearning, with stripping yourself of different programs and ideologies and getting to source and seeing what you naturally gravitate towards. And I think Saturn is helping so many people do that. I think Saturn is helping so many people say, yo, okay, I know I've been honoring Christianity so much because I grew up in it, this and the third, but I ain't gonna tell nobody. I ain't gonna tell my parents, but let me just detach from a little bit and let me see what this astrology thing really hitting for. Let me see what the spiritual lady down the block. Let me really hear her out this time. So Saturn is helping people to, break down these foundations, to unlearn, to relearn, to understand what the God in you really is. Okay, and it's hard to understand who the God in you is, how you're an increment of God in some type of shape or form, or even to see God in the gazillions of ways you can see it every day, every second. It's hard to do these things when you're dealing with attachments. It's hard to do these things when, once again, Pisces, dark side of Pisces, when you have these negative coping mechanisms for dealing with your healing, these negative attachments, and you're not even trying to see anything dealing with growth because you're in a content space of what, this substance, with this person, with this environment, this enabling partnership makes you feel. You're not seeking nothing with growth when you're in these spaces. Okay, I know Lotus just mentioned something dealing with, chapters in her life. She dealt with certain attachments. I'm mad transparent, online about things. I used to get on live streams high as hell, like, y'all guys, at this point, it's smoking me. I used to be so transparent about that. And, I've tried to put myself on the cross so other people can understand, like, yo, at some point, you got to take initiative for identifying your attachments so you could really know the greatness and you could really get closer to your potential. And potential is a key word that I always associate with Pisces in the 12th house energy. It's nothing but potential. Saturn comes in that bitch to help us understand, okay, you want to see potential come into reality? Get rid of all of this shit and place all your time and discipline into this. And maybe we could start seeing remnants of imagination and potential energy start working its way into reality. And when you start doing that, that's when you understand that you're a part of God. When you have something in your imagination, when you have a vision and you did whatever you did in order to bring that down into reality, that's God right there. You're creating, you're manifesting. So I think that's what Saturn is helping a lot of people deal with. People that already had strong vibrations with Saturn, a great relationship with Saturn coming into this space, they're working magic. They're impressing themselves. People that, we're all human going through a human experience. We're all spirits going through a human experience. But, some people that's more so struggling with Saturn energy is, once again, more punishments, more setbacks, and coming in the name of helping you to understand, like, damn, maybe I got to get this out of my life so I can see my potential. So, long-winded answer for a really good question, Sharice. There you go.
I think that people are sort of finding faith or looking for God is because, Pisces represents like unconditional love and things like this. And I think part of people on this journey of self-love and discovery, it walks a close path with faith, with connecting to the universe, with connecting to something outside of yourself, something larger than yourself. And then at the same time, like a juxtaposition in the world is like all of the horrible things that are happening to people in other places on the same planet as us. And so I think that also that hopelessness, that helplessness, it encourages, it always creates this sentiment of like looking for something outside of yourself because there must be answers. There must be a reason that this is happening. There must be something bigger than me that is sort of pulling the strings here. And then it nudges people towards looking for answers. And I think that a lot of times that's going to bring you back to God, to the universe, to your faith, whatever that looks like for you. And then I also think it has like, I always think of it like Renaissance energy too. Like I know Beyonce with the Renaissance tour and everything, but it's just like art. It's like a revival of the things that make people feel good and allow people to be creative because like, fuck it, we're all going to die someday. So like, let's enjoy this shit. Let's eat cake. Let's paint things. Let's dance. Let's make love. Let's sing. It's like all of those things. So I think that they kind of all walk together, in terms of like finding faith and looking for God again.
Before you go, Umi, I literally thought you were gonna say we're all gonna die soon. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
No, someday.
Because it really went like, I'm like, whoa. Go ahead, Umi.
Every time I look at transits, I just always look at the last time it aspected. So around this time, we're coming into a neo soul era, mid 90s to mid to late 90s. Also, what comes to my mind is Mary Mary. What comes to my mind, but most importantly, is Kirk Franklin. So Kirk Franklin was a big energy of bringing hip hop with religion. And that's what I feel like is happening right now. A lot of religious people are going down to see the lady, like Burrow was saying. They tippy toeing and realizing that we do the same thing. I take the blood of Christ, and you guys do your little bloody stuff over there, and let's see how it merges and it brings some understanding to each other. So I feel like right now, and just like when we were coming to that neo soul era, where a lot of people felt like it was blasphemy, demonic, that kind of energy there. So as we come back into this transit, it's now asking us, where do we want to merge the spiritual world and with the religious world? How now it's just intertwining. It's impossible to not intertwine. Where maybe in the next few months to years, as we go through this transit, we might see the energy of merging with something more religious and something more spiritual and more the collective, where it becomes a norm. Even with this country, how country has made its way into here. It's coming at this basis of Piscean as well. This energy of, because when you listen to country music, it's about expand, like truest self-expression, truest depths, at my wits' end, and just that kind of music integrating into this new, do better, put yourself first, higher collective, but an energy that is just more about enduring. So we're gonna merge what enduring, but also being higher, having higher learning, how that comes together. And even the words of, even with that theme of discipline, how do we discipline ourselves, but not abuse ourselves? And that's what religion and spirituality has a difference in. Religion will beat you in a way, like punish. Spirituality frees you, like you are the God, you are. So how are we going to merge that together, since people are realizing I don't want to be punished, but I don't want to be too high in the sky neither. So I just always go back to the era. If we go back to the hippie era, same thing they were calling the hippies, crazy people like blasphemy, like that era. It looks beautiful now, but back in the day, those were like, if you watch with the Bob movie, what he was doing was blasphemous. World peace, are you crazy? So we're coming into this energy of how spirituality and religion will merge, how it needs to merge, a higher learning of faith. That's how I'm seeing it when I put it with cycles, if I want to follow patterns.
Higher learning of faith. I love that. Bora, it looked like you were about to say something real quick.
No, this is just beautiful explanations by the ladies. And you did mention one thing, Umi, about I don't know how you said it verbatim, but it was just basically about working too hard with Saturn. And that is something I've realized, you got to be careful of your Saturn placement. Like when you get into dialing into more of the positive side of it and wanting to sustain Saturn energy in your life, right? Disciplining this, disciplining that. Some people on a diet right now and they about to die because they taste buds ain't been fulfilled in 90 days. And it's like, yo, you don't got to be that harsh. You could get you a little fried chicken every once in a while, a little cheat day. All right. But seriously, when it comes into Saturn energy, you have to be able to level that sense of discipline out, right? And still let your spirit feel free, because spirit hates to deal with any type of rigorous, extreme, persistent, pattern of something. You got to let spirit roam in different ways. So I think that was just great. Probably somebody, I know somebody in the church was like, yeah, I'm being a little too hard on myself. Like I got to allow myself to breathe a little bit while, still walking my path. And I think that's mad key.
Yeah. What I got from that too is like healthy levels of self-compassion. I think self-compassion is very Pisces as well. So Saturn in there, most definitely. So as we all are talking, and we've kind of made it clear, we're in this healing era here. Oh, something just came back to my mind as Umi was talking about the hippies. A lot of things that people said too about the hippies, oh, they're just druggies, just because they were just like, doing their thing and just living in like one love. So I definitely see that too when people talk about this spiritual community, kind of just like, oh, they're all just like, smoking or getting high, or they don't know what they're talking about, or they're crazy. So I can definitely see the patterns of like people kind of like discounting the spiritual practices by saying that. So, but we are very much in this healing era. For sure. Saturn plus Neptune in Pisces. Neptune has been transiting Pisces forever. Chiron conjunct North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra. Like we are currently in this healing era. So when looking at these transits, what are some of the themes that you think are being brought up to be healed right now? So like the Saturn plus Neptune in Pisces, Chiron conjunct North Node, South Node in Libra, all of this. What are the themes that you guys think are being brought up to be healed right now?
Whether people realize it or not, in your Pisces house, you're learning how to be your own counselor and psychiatrist right now. Whether we once again, we all need help on our healing journey. We all need to talk to the lady, okay? But in some type of shape or form, that there's so many different type of transits and people that, I look at charts and they have so much potential to unlock strong healing properties, but at the same time I see that they have to go through their trials and tribulations to even know that they have this within them, right? So that is very important to understand in your Pisces house. How am I learning how to heal myself? What am I being stripped of, or what is Saturn as resistance? What am I trying to do that's adding resistance for me to understand there's another way to go about it? Maybe I'm not going about this from a spiritual perspective, right? Maybe I'm just too linear with the way I'm looking at how I should be building and structuring something. That comes back to the concept of faith, right? It's no works, ain't no works is dead without faith, right? So we got that going on. And man, the Aries Libra axis has been going crazy in eclipse season, and with Chiron and the node lining up in Aries. Like, I know, as for me, right, I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal or nothing. I have a real small circle, but part of that is because a lot of my peers are just simply not on the quote unquote healing journey that I am when it comes into disciplining certain things, detaching certain things in my life. And I'm doing my best to just not only do it for myself, obviously, but be an example, for men around my age, my peers and whatnot, especially in the age we live in Aquarius, where if you don't know how to program your own timeline, it's gonna program you. And as far as masculine energy, Aries having a huge influence on masculine energy. Aries having a huge influence on birthing energy. Aries does deal with desire energy as well. It does deal with desire energy. It has a Mars influence, has a Pluto influence, and has a Sun influence. So Aries could be impulsive for their desires, okay? While Scorpio sit in the background like, yeah, I desire as much as Aries, but I'm going to plot on how I'm going to get to it. You feel me? Aries just jump out and try to get on top of their desires. So now that we have Chiron and the node lining up, I think this is a time where a lot of people are learning how to capitalize off of times that they didn't take the opportunity or embrace opportunity to birth something within themselves, or to create something, or maybe a talent, a gift that they've been had and you've been sleeping on it, not realizing this whole time. It's that talent, that gift, that sense of awareness you could give to the world. It's still there. It's still here. Ain't nothing expired. You can still connect this to the world. You can still give this life. Aries, sun, vitality. You can still give this life. All right. So I think that's very important. That is a healing journey on its own. Somebody gaining confidence with embracing how they create and birth something, taking the work, taking the time to build up things with their self-identity. But what I've seen is, I think this influence is a huge reason why certain relationships are taking their transformations, are embracing a transformation chapter, because you might have one partner that's feeling like they're tapping more into their individuality, as we should with the North Node in Aries, but it's hard to balance the experience or the history, the past energy that might have been already accumulated with the South Node in Libra. So it's like, damn, I've been in this marriage, damn, I've been in this relationship, damn, I've been engaged for this long, but now I want to have a motherfucking spiritual awakening, and my partner ain't really on that time. Now I want to embrace creating and doing all these different things that I feel like will, help my self-identity to really flourish. But none of my peers is on this type of time. So this is why there's a lot of this is a huge reason right now why a lot of transformations is taking place in relationships, and why some of these things peak definitely during eclipse season. And eclipse season is right around the corner. All right. So we're gonna just start to learn and experience this even more. Okay. But I know, last thing, I know it may not be as seen depending on what you got going on in your timeline, but I know a lot of the things that throughout my whole 20s that I've been trying to learn how to discipline and structure with different attachments in my life, managing desires and all of that bull job. I needed help. I needed to see other men talking about these things on the internet. And I've been seeing this for a while. So I know there's a percentage of men out there that's trying to be the example for other men to understand what it is to be a man, what it is to be a stable man, and be free of things dealing with their desires and raising out of their survival energies, raising out of their lower chakras in some type of shape or form. And it may not be as easy to see, because we already know what the matrix rather have us pay attention to. So that's why, once again, programming your timeline and who you subscribe to and who you paying attention to is very important. But yes, I believe, the divine masculine is doing a lot of work. And even when it comes to divine feminine, yeah, North Node is in Aries, but if you're a woman, wherever you have Aries at in your chart, you're learning right now how to assert your individuality there. You're learning how to be in a relationship and find balance with making sure your partner understands your individuality as well, and you not being conformed to whatever type of quote unquote traditional role or this, that, and the third. Like, it's the age of Aquarius. There's all different type of alternative relationships taking place. And Umi brought it up coming in, to the live. Like, you have to be able to understand your partner's individuality, place effort to understand your partner's individuality, and making sure you're not suppressing yours. That's a lot going on with Aries, North Node Aries, and that shit is way more easier said than done. But that's what we have to embrace right now, especially if you're talking about partnership energy.
Lotus.
Yeah, for me, I really just view this transit as people really cleaning up the things that they're addicted to. And I know that that's definitely how it's been playing out real time in my life. When I had my Saturn return in Sag, that was a huge theme that came up to me, or came up for me. And it's sort of like circling back around, and even though the addictions may not be to substances how they were back during my Saturn return, during the Saturn and Pisces square, it's definitely other things that are addicting and escapist indulgences. And so I really feel like that's how it's showing up for me personally. But I think that's also why it's encouraging so many people to heal, is because of the nature of Saturn to clean things up. And like what I said earlier with people wanting love and partnership and looking for something outside themselves. There's a lot of focus on the self for healing with the North Node and Chiron together. And with Saturn in that 12th house to all of that action, it's really adding to this purification, this cleaning, this purging, let's get this house in order type energy.
Most
So
definitely.
Just to even piggyback that as well, mutable energy, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, they rule and are connected to themes like Mercury retrograde, since two of them are Mercury connected, Gemini and Virgo. So they rule where we're clumsy, where we are forgetful, where we need to organize. So with Lotus even saying that with addictions and things of sort, that's actually a popular form of media right now on social media, recovery. And mutables, and this is my belief, but if you are a mutable dominant, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, I believe that in this lifetime you will at least experience being in some sort of isolated setting, prison, rehab, another country,
all of the above.
Mutables will tell you a thing or two about living on freedom, spontaneous, Mercury retrograde. It's a mutable that I'll write a self-help book about what you shouldn't do to what you should do in life. So with Saturn being in Pisces, and we started off this year with Mercury going direct in Sagittarius, right? So a square. So we started off this year with a lot of people realizing maybe where they have certain types of mental disorders, personality disorders, and where they might need to go get some real clinical help or more alternative help to figure out where they have some sort of personality issues, right? So even when you go online right now, autism, narcissism, diagnose. So right now people are in spaces of, do I do it with Aquarius in an alternative, like in a way that's more holistic, or do I go get clinical help? Like, what is it that I should do since it's a square that started off this year? Do I go the religious route or do I go the spiritual route? The collective came into this year just in the basis of what is the bigger picture? What is our like back to the basis of our undoing as well? Who is the gurus? Who are the guides that are going to help us go through this? But there is a big basis right now with a lot of even the mutables. I'm going to send to you Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, where you guys might feel like maybe I need to go get some clinical, like maybe I need to go talk to somebody to see if my mind or like the conditioning of my mind is working properly. For a lot of the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, some of you can be realizing that some of your children are not processing or taking on the functionings, their motor skills in the way that they should be for their age. So that's another thing as well for the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, where you can be wanting to integrate different patterns, healings, practitioners in the household to really, work with your children. But that's a big basis as well. And even for the mutable kids, those who have mutable dominance, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, where the parents might be feeling like these children, we may need to go get some sort of clinical or just, and even in certain spaces when Saturn go retrograde, maybe even have been hospitalized in some way within the past year, in some capacity, like to get more help. So that's just this basis with this transit that I'm seeing, that it's really opening up where our undoing is, but where we feel like we need more guidance and where we might even need to integrate medicine into our life as well, especially for the mutable energies and the fixed when it comes to their households, their overall households. So
I can definitely see that. Go ahead, Lotus.
I was going to say, and also for the mutables, like we're still dealing with a very long Neptune transit. And Neptune is so tempting. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever watched Big Mouth on Netflix. Anybody? But you know the big purple cat that's like the comforting cat where it's like, let's just be depressed and like let's just be cozy here. That's like Neptune. It's just like, let's just sink into the Cheshire cat, like be all sunk in the sunken place and be in our shadows and things like that. And Neptune, I think, is really triggering or causing that for the mutables. They're either indulging too much in the drugs and alcohol, or possibly facing imprisonment because Saturn or Pisces is institutions like this. And my Saturn return played out with a fucking drugs and an institution. Okay, so like that's a very real possibility. Mutables, just saying.
When I see a mutable dominant, I'm like, you've been somewhere.
Y'all are scaring the peoples. Pisces also mean like religious places too, like monasteries. Okay.
Yeah, and we're also cleaning up those places too. Like they look at all like the justice, so to speak, that's been brought to a lot of the people in power there, Saturn, and also the practices and the way that they've been doing business, so to speak. That's come up for like judgment and for purification, and that also has been an area where cleaning house has been a theme.
Absolutely. Boro, you brought up something earlier when you were talking about North Node in Aries, Chiron in Aries, and the divine masculine healing. I know last week we did our live, and we went off a little bit on the divine masculine, maybe not the divine masculine, but the masculine. And I remember Lotus just saying too that she feels like men have the most reprogramming to do. I'm definitely paraphrasing, but since they were taught like just like hiding their emotions, that they're not connected to emotions and all of that. So I know we're in this healing era, but first question is, does healing look differently for the divine masculine versus the divine feminine? And no, let's start with that. I don't want to get too ahead of myself.
I think there's a number of things that men need to take on in a general sense, a number of things that women need to take on, and I think there's a number of things we both have to we both sharing lessons with, to be honest with you. I come off as such a, I can't blame it, I can't help it, Scorpio stellium. I come off as such like a conspiracy theory-ish matrix type of guy, but you know, the world is designed for us to be divided. All right, the world is designed for us to be divided. And you know, I be having talks with my homies, and I'm like, yo, bro, there's 1,000 podcasts and uh videos on the internet talking about women this and men that. And I'd be like, where do we be seeing these women at? Like, where do we be seeing these women that niggas be hating on or projecting on on the internet? And then when I talk to women, a lot of the time I ask them simple questions. Like, I was just talking to a woman not too long ago in my DMs, and she was trying to tell me something about black men, and I asked her, how's your experience with black men? And everything she was saying, she says, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro, I have not had these experiences with black men. So I'm like, where are these ideologies coming from? So I bring that up to say, once again, this is why we have to be careful as to what is on your timeline. You will look at some of these programs out in the world in the age of Aquarius and think, damn, the whole world is divided with relationships. I know a number of people right now in fruitful relationships. I know a number of people right now not dealing with a lot of the things that we complain about on social media every day. Okay. But when it comes into healing in general, yeah, it is different. It is different because we are different. Okay. And men have to get back. Like, testosterone is the lowest it's ever been in civilization. So what does that mean? Men have no discipline with their desires at all. At all. And what does that do for the woman? She starts to feel neglected because there's no sense of stability to lean on. This nigga weak. This nigga don't have no spine, you know, in whatever type of way. So men need to find different ways to get into their detachment in order to build themselves back up, be more stable, be more sturdy, and be dependable. I've been saying this the past couple of weeks on my, you know, in my live streams. Like, you know, men, I feel like a real man takes responsibility in being depended on. Right. So we're having this whole big question, 50-50 this, 50-50 that, like, whatever. I watched my parents, they both was working and shit, but I don't believe in the whole 50-50 thing. You know, if my woman could bring something in financially, help, we all have different roles, but at the same time, can she consistently lean on me? I believe men are here to bring peace and stability to women more than they're actually supposed to be bringing it to us. In a harmonious relationship, yes, it's a mutual thing. But for the most part, I believe men are engineered to be here for stability. That's it. In general. Now, when it comes into women, you know, I know there's women I've dated from the ages like 25 leading up to 30, right? I'll turn 31 this October. And I've dealt with women, and you know, like I said, Scorpio stellium. So sometimes I can't help but try to penetrate your motherfucking brain and see how you think and whatnot. And I've actually dealt with women where I've seen how the projections of social media and whatnot have kind of started to change how they feel like they should present themselves, right? I remember one time this chick I was dealing with, real quote unquote traditional like chicken, and she's showing me a picture of her half naked. She's like, you think I should post this? And I'm like, why are you asking me this? She's like, no, because I just feel like, you know, like, I feel like I just gotta like kind of get up in the mix, like girls be posting this, that. And I'm like, look at what you're saying. Like, you're uncomfortable with what you think you have to do. So that started to show me like, damn, these programs are running a little bit deeper than I think. So to me, I always urge detachment. I always urge getting into a space of solitude, because that's always going to help you to get to source. Me, as of right now, for people that's been watching me for years, they have heard, for people that's been watching me for the past couple of years, y'all are seeing how my relationship ideologies have transformed over time, right? So me being on a journey I'm on, abstaining and not really dating and doing all the things that I have to do in order to heal, I look at love and connection and relationships from a way more evolved perspective now. And it's almost like, damn, I can't believe I was just looking at relationships like that. I can't believe that I thought a woman had to come in my life and be this, that, and the third. So detachment is very serious, especially if you're single. You really got to take the time to work on yourself, men and women. That's something we both have to mutually embrace around this time. And it's hard. I get it. I'm a Libra ass nigga. It'd be hard to be alone. You think I'd be wanting to be around some every now and then, but no, you gotta sustain that energy to help be a better person for whoever that person is gonna eventually be in your life. All right. But you know, Sharice, I could give you another 25 minutes on this right here. But ladies, we got to share the panel.
Yeah, we're gonna let everyone talk. I feel like this conversation we can go wrong on. But ladies, are men and women healing differently? What do y'all think? Because last week we had a little convo about it, and we were like, where are the men who are doing the healing? Where are they?
Yes, inquiring minds would like to know, where are these men? Okay, then let's just start with that. My experience with the divine masculine has been predominantly via Black men, and I feel like there is a lot of breakdown and just like this ridiculous standard or fantasy or fetishizing of them that they're supposed to live up to, that I think is so destructive. And I actually feel like that's why it's so much harder for the masculine to get the ball rolling in this healing and self-love journey, because there is just like weird mask that you guys have been conditioned to wear since you've been like little boys. I don't know. This is something that I've been sort of unpacking as I've been healing my inner child and my father wounds, because I am also trying to align with a man who is not like previous men I've dated. And I keep coming back to the self-evaluation, because I'm the common denominator in all of those relationships. So why do I keep aligning with this, version of man? But I think that there are a lot of ridiculous standards and weird things that men are supposed to be, that I think is really hard. And I think that it, like how Burrow said, how we're designed to sort of be separate. I think that's also part of the matrix and this simulation that we're in. It's like part of the trap. That's how it sort of keeps us, divided, and keep our magic sort of separated, and keep us feeling inferior, and all of these things, and keeping the majority of people in this frequency of, lack and scarcity mindset, and feeling like they're missing out on whatever with whoever, and just in all this comparison mode, and like you could just pile all that stuff on together. But I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot of men do intentional healing. So I am legitimately curious how they are doing that. And me out here navigating these dating waters, I feel like sometimes I turn into just like, I put on my therapist hat, and I don't want to be like that when I'm talking to men, but I really want to know, like, what are you actually doing to like be connected with your emotional body? Like, when you think about the women in your life that you love and have a relationship with, what do you love about them? Like, do you love that they do things for you, or do you love that they make you feel safe and seen, and support your emotional and spiritual growth and things like that? Like, I'm definitely grilling them and cross-examining them and putting on my 8th house Mercury all the way on to be like, where's your head at? Where's your soul at? Like, what are you just operating out of desire, or are you operating from something higher? Are you actually holding yourself accountable to the man that you think you are, and not just being the man that you are? Because like, I'm a woman living in those, I'm putting action in those things for my own life, and I'm actually taking my own medicine and that sort of thing. And that's the type of people I want to align with, especially romantically, but also just in my network and my soul family and my tribe and all of that. So yeah, I think men have I don't know, it seems tougher for y'all,
Umi, I'm gonna get to you really just right after this, Boro. I feel like I see you itching to say something.
Well, for one, you could go on YouTube and type in semen retention. You could type in celibacy abstaining for men, and it may not be that much of an example to see around sometimes in our personal lives, but they're out there. Like I said, my whole 20s, I wanted to understand how to abstain from sex since I was like 21, and I was always on an on and off journey my whole 20s, and I needed to look up to many of these figures. So I'll say that's for one, and two, yes. You said something so key. Men, are you operating out of your desire, or out of your spiritual body? And my church knows that's one of the main words I use: desires. We have women, no shade, but we have women getting rich off of OnlyFans accounts. Who's supporting this? men with no backbone, men with no goals, men that are just lost in their lower chakras, and that's what that is. So if a woman is gonna move in, whether it's a promiscuous way or whatever it may be, to each his own, you have to understand there's a man on the other side that's getting lost in the fantasy of that. And I think there is way more men getting lost in the fantasy of different programs on social media than there is men doing the work. I do agree with you on that. And it's crazy how like it kind of impacts each other, right? I seen a comment somewhere. Somebody said something about where to go, something about a scroll hole. I think that was somebody making a comment based off of what I said about the girl that I said felt like she was pressured to have to post something about herself half naked. So it's like,
Yeah, put it up on the screen.
right. So like beauty is everything for a woman, right? Beauty is everything. But now when we're in an age where it's so easy to get attention, it's just so easy to broadcast yourself. Women have to be conscious about, how much am I going outside of myself to be something and be seen for something? Because I think one of the hardest journeys for women right now dealing with healing is understanding that how you present yourself really ain't got shit to do with what you attract. It's about the real healing work you're doing. You could be in the house 6 months straight, not going out nowhere. If you're doing whatever you got to do to heal, a righteous nigga gonna find you. I promise you. It ain't about trying to fixate your.
Well, I'm feeling like Rapunzel up in this bitch, I swear to God. She's just growing out her hair and reading her books and saying her mantras and going to therapy. It's like, bro, hurry up.
Look, Lotus, don't listen. We fighting some of the same battles. We lead the dominance. I'm going through my trials and tribulations. I used to be confused about a whole lot of different things. Do I want to be married? Can I be faithful to one girl? Do I need to be in an open relationship? That's too much confusion when you're dealing with too much attachment. All right. And when you start, deleting these things, once again, you get to more of original space, more of a natural space. It's so hard in the age of Aquarius. It's a lot going on. There's a lot of things to catch.
And then when you start to enter this space, because you are doing the work, you see how the options have just suddenly disappeared. It's like, okay, that was cool. So now what? Am I just like the oracle in the woods? Like a gang of cats and a freaking some more plants. You know what I'm saying?
I don't disagree, Lotus. I really don't.
So I'm rooting for the masculine. Like I am so rooting for the divine masculine, and I really wish that I'm really hoping that eclipse season, the unicorns are going to start to come out of their cocoons, and they're going to encourage more of the masculine to be vulnerable, and they're going to hold space for each other and support each other to unmask and reconnect with their spiritual, emotional body. Like everyone needs to read All About Love by Bell Hooks. Like I think that book really describes the division very well.
Every time somebody, I'm sorry, last thing, you can pass it to me.
Hate this book?
No. Okay.
I'd
be so disappointed when I hear about it because somebody gifted me this book going on like 2 years. I'm just looking at it right now, collecting dust.
Come on, Libra.
Like, I know. I gotta tighten up.
Not the love guru.
Book, at least read the first chapter. It will literally blow your mind.
All right. I'm gonna make
it really will. You're gonna be like, damn, like especially just the programming for men. It's heartbreaking. Like reading the book, it's heartbreaking, and they quote so many studies and research. It's just like, damn, like we really need to. How can we support the masculine?
Umi, I'm gonna let you come in.
I like to center like placements as well. And you'll find most spiritual men will have earth or water placements in their chart. So if you are even looking for like that energy like a masculine energy that understands the feminine experience, mama's boys sometimes with these placements, they are close to sisters, ladies, men, women, friends within these placements. But if you're able to understand that, then you'll be able to see how much this experience can grow for you. So if you want to find spiritual men, they're going to need to understand the feminine experience, or just that more nurturing, intuitive experience. So they're going to need water or earth dominance in their chart. But again, remember how the matrix pushes the masculine experience. So picture how water and earth men feel in this world. They're pussies, they're punks, they're feminists. They're in that basis there while they're trying to also operate in this world. Also, a lot of water and earth men will have some confliction with their fathers. So because especially if their fathers are in this masculine matrix, but if you're looking for spiritual men or men who understand that intuitive energy, they're going to need water or earth energy, feminine placement, but that does come with their own trials and tribulations when it comes to them understanding men in their life and men respecting them in their life. So just that bridge. Baro, your sign does it the best. Libra's able to do the best because Libra behind closed doors. Sorry, Baro. They be like, yo, these bitches ain't shit. But then in front of the ladies, they're like, ladies.
That's literally me behind closed doors. Like, these men ain't shit. And it's just like I really have like stopped speaking that spell over myself because like, no, I believe that there is good men out there and that they are looking for me too. But like, did you lose my number? Did you not find my house? I swear.
Umi is hilarious, but she ain't tell a lie. She ain't tell a lie yet.
So just that basis with water and earth, right? So if you're looking for spiritual, especially the men who do astrology, who are astrologers, who are cardiology, tarot, all that in energy, they're gonna need, or they're gonna have water, especially in their chart, or earth. Now, if they have this on their body, that means women are gonna like them like that. So most spiritual men are Shangos. They lay their dick out. They got a few baby mamas. They get it. The women there's limited energy of this. So they're going to get that basis there. I feel the energy that does well in this is Aquarius men. The water barrier, but also a air sign. So men respect them. Like, yo, you got a harem over there. You're doing your thing over there. But you also can understand the balance between masculine and feminine. That's why Aquarius dominant men, Uranus dominant men can be very fluid. Since they can balance out both if you want to specifically look for this energy. So that's with placements. Now with this, like with the timelines you're speaking out, I'm speaking with Baro, that's so true. I personally feel like men are on the journey. Their journey might be a little uncomfortable for us. It may be a fickle for us, but they're on their journey. Yeah, they're talking about things that's like, all right, hurry up. But they're talking. They're getting these podcasts. They're just yapping. and it could be fickle. But remember, they're not, especially since the matrix, this mass energy is not really feminine. Like it's not safe for femininity. So they have to first unpack where they have been predators to the feminine experience, because they get it. Like a lot of men, like there's been, especially water and earth men, there'll be men that are like, yo, bro, don't do that. But fire and airman might be in the basis of trying to really program this masculine experience. And that's why it's just that's why these predators need to come out. Like, that's why this energy is coming out right now. So men who are being exposed in this way, so the men who always felt like it was wrong can now step forward and have their own identity, have their own platforms. We're going to expose these predators. Because that's been another thing too, that a lot of men and a lot of women have felt towards men, that they're not protected. But men have felt in their own spaces, they're in this territory, they're not protected. So once we come to understanding that we're having two different experiences, will come together. And also, if you're specifically looking for spiritual men, yeah, they're gonna be mama's boys a little bit. They have to understand you. They was in the kitchen with mom. They're gonna get it. They're gonna be like, okay, I want to cook with you. They're gonna have a basis of where they want to protect the feminine energy. And I'm not saying all of them aren't, but the mama's boys are that basis there. But that could be the experience for them to have to learn to love women. The fact that they had to first learn to love their sisters and their mothers and just other women in those ways, in those impersonal ways. So just that basis as well is important. One thing I'm gonna leave with is that Virgo is a very spiritual energy in men. I know you're saying that, Lotus, but this is the thing with Virgo, though. Virgo in men, especially when it's on the moon, they're very, and just water men in general, water and earth men, they're like, hey, I cook for myself. I iron my own clothes. I've come into my own, I understand my own experience within the feminine energy. What do you do for me? And that's why, like, especially Virgo men, they could be men that like to live alone. They don't like living with women because they can take care of themselves in that way. And just know that with men who understand the feminine experience, they're going to really look at you as a woman differently than a man who doesn't understand the feminine experience. They're going to be more picky. They're water and earth men. They're going to be they're going to be more, they see you better. So that's another thing too. And remember, the matrix is going to trick you, where these men look like bad men, but they just see you better. Whereas the men who are like more fire and air, who are like giving you everything, trick on a woman. I'm not saying that's bad, but they may have more of an energy where you're more objectified. Look at the placements and understand them. So you can understand when you meet a man with water, when you meet a man with air, fire, earth, why he's operating this way. Like, I just hope it makes sense. I got a little passionate about it.
Totally makes sense. But me personally, I have dealt with several Virgo men, Virgo placement men, and Virgo is my 12th house, and I just cannot do it. I really feel like they're either, especially a Virgo moon man, he has strange bed pleasures, if you catch my drift. And then I feel like a lot of them were struggling with their sexuality. They weren't sure if they were bi or not. It's too much mutable for me, and that has been my experience with one of them. I even kind of called him out on it, and he low-key admitted it. So I can't. Virgo men, I just cannot. And I attract a lot of air and fire dominant men, and I just feel like, I don't know. I've tried lots of different placements, and it's been hard. And I also, in my own self-examination, like I have Mars in Capricorn at 20 degrees. So I feel like it's also hard because if your Mars is like too feminine for my Mars, it's like, I don't really like that.
I do want to piggyback on one thing Umi said. Did you want to say something, Umi?
I just want to say a lot of times with these Virgo, like just with feminine placement on men or that water and earth, a lot of them, since they're in this matrix energy that's pushing this type of masculinity, a lot of them are molested by women, like imposed on by women. Most men who can have water or earth signs, since the machine is not working with the masculine experience and those placements that they have. It should be more on women, right? They can take on the feminine experience or understanding in negative ways. And that's why it may bring in those kinks. I personally feel like any man who has water or earth is gonna be a little freaky in bed. He's gonna be like, yo, baby, you feel that? Like, let's feel it. I feel like fire and air men are gonna like fuck the shit out of you, like you like an object. You know what I'm saying? Like, whereas water and earth men, they're gonna be like, all right, let's open this up. Now, the only one that I want to say honorable mention is Aquarius. They're the water barrier, so they just have this understanding of both. But I just with like what it happens in real life, these placements, and how I see the experience when I read men, like read their charts, water and earth is difficult for them to carry. But it's also what helps them, even like it's water and earth that's even gonna do readings with me. Fire and air, I'm like, I got no time for this. But water and earth, they're gonna come and open up that basis. All right, I'll sit on this session and I'll hear what this lady has to say. But how did that experience come about? Now you do have Sagittarius and Saturn and Sagittarius. You got that Leo energy. So you are, you're a head honcho. You're the boss. Like, you're fiery. So that could dampen out water. But then that Taurus is gonna want it on the sun. It's just a whole
Yeah, and then I got a lot of Uranus aspects in my chart too. Like Uranus is opposite my Venus and trine my moon. So
Laura, I'll let you go.
Damn, it's like y'all made me want to say more than I originally want to say. I just wanted to point out one thing Umi said that I've literally never thought about from this perspective, when she's talking about, women saying that they're not feeling protected, and she says something about, what are you bringing to the man? And there's ways for women to protect the man. You're not going to protect me in a street fight, right? You're not going to protect me from a physical perspective. You can help protect what I have going on subconsciously. You can help affirm things with my emotions. And I think that is very neglected when it comes into the healing journey of a woman, because it could be so easy for a woman to be like, I've been doing this healing, this, that, and the third. You ain't gonna mess this up for me. You got to play this part because I've been doing the work, and you're not gonna throw me off, instead of how can I use the experience I've been gaining in this past couple months, years, whatever, in my healing journey, and help stabilize what you got going on with your subconscious. With anybody that believes they're a healer, some of y'all have been blessed with healing hands and a healing touch. It come with responsibility. You have to heal a mother flipper. That's how it is. All right. And we know there's levels to healing. There's chapters to it. Okay. So that's just huge right there. And man, Umi, you super on point with the whole perspective about like that earth water influence with men and whatnot. And it's just so crazy to me because I've been into things dealing with spirituality as a since like elementary school. I've been watching Phil Valentine and Bobby Hemmett tapes, metaphysical teachers, all male teachers. And it wasn't until I got into a space where I was personally teaching, and I'm like, yo, damn. What fellas, where y'all at, man? The ladies, they here, they hungry for this. They hungry for the knowledge. They hungry for self-development. They hungry for spiritual development. So it starts to show me like, okay, it's levels to how people go about their spiritual development in general. And yeah, I do feel like the men be lacking in this space, but I can't do the disservice to men and think just because they're not in these astrology spaces that they're not in spiritual spaces. Because spirituality expands way more than astrology, right? Astrology is just one facet of things dealing with spirituality. So but like Umi ended up wrapping it up saying like, right, it's a little bit more complex than a lot of these things. But yeah, ladies, y'all are all just making super critical crystal points.
I agree with that. Men need to just level up on that consciousness, that awareness. I believe they're doing it. It's just it may not be as quickly or the way we may have wanted on the feminine, but they have to I feel like they need to really unprogram themselves from first being predators. like a man, like it's men that are like with the basis of just with that video, like they have to unpack that, and men have to tell on each other. And I feel like even right now, men are coming forward and being like, hey, he's a bad guy and I don't want to be next to him. Don't group me with him. And and the more men that come out and say, do not group me with this guy, is going to be important just for this transit. Because they gang. And that's what makes them now feel like they're now attacked as a group, but they gang. I think of the Kevin Hart, when Kevin Hart is like, when I'm in the club and he tells a story about where his girl gets into a fight and the guy comes and try to fight him. But before he asks his girl, he's like, what did you do to make that man fight you? and I'm just thinking about that's where I feel like we're at the collective. If we want men to open up, they have to let us know where they're unsafe. As well. And I think as the feminine collective, especially the ones that are still in that machine, we might find it weak. We might find it the most stupidest thing. Especially when we're looking at men and they're like, we love a woman that cooks a meal. We're like, cook a meal though, bro? We got things to work on. But that's how simple their experience, because it's just so much sometimes. Having a son just changed my whole in an Aries sun. So it's like so much with a Scorpio daughter, right? Like I have to teach her to be super strong because Scorpios just get played the fuck out of here. But I got to teach this Aries to be strong because I know he can be he has predator placements. You know what I'm saying? He got Aries energy where he can oppose himself on women, and it's just something I'm trying to learn as well. Because I'm a spiritual woman, so it's I don't want to be a pushy on men. I don't want to. Come to me when you want, bro. But I also don't want to align myself, Libra South Node, with someone that's not on the journey as well. But I'm the only girl. So I was just it's just so much what I've seen with men, just the simple things that can back them up. Having sex is so important for a young boy, right? I know it's the same thing for women, but for men, boys, the way I see my brothers go through this process of dating girls, I'm like, bro, this is another process for y'all. So, and then just having my son where I just had to look at it from another perspective, especially since he has placements that can be he's Sagittarius rising. I'm like, whoa, you no water. His Venus is the only water sign, his Venus in Pisces. So I'm like, whoa, we need to teach you how to love and appreciate women and hold and protect the femininity. And he does. He's 4 years old, but you see him come on come on the camera sometimes, and you're like, yo, who's my mom talking to? So, so just that basis there. So that's where I'm like thinking with like the masculine, feminine energy. We just have so much work to do, and it's all good. It's all good. I hope so.
I do want to sprinkle one little thing here. I'm a Libra, guys. So I try my best, especially when we start talking about relationships and masculinity and femininity. I try my best to be as fair as possible and draw it down the line. But what I've realized, and this may not resonate with the most of the women in the building, because I am here representing for the men, but as a man, it is very hard to teach women at times. If I'm dealing with a woman that I'm dating on a personal level, that's a whole different perspective. And I've struggled with that as well. But I feel like there's a strong ego perspective with a lot of women. Like, who is this nigga to teach me how to deal with my subconscious, my healing journey? Who the fuck is this nigga? So to say that I've dealt with this in my personal life, and if I'm scrolling on my timeline and I'm watching podcasts, how many times do we really see a woman schooling a man in these podcasts, and instead of seeing a podcast clip that's going viral because a man is trying to school a woman, it's hard for her to be taught. Her ego's getting in the way. So when we talk about healing, I think that is a strong influence from a woman's perspective, being open to whoever the face is teaching you. Because as men, we're not built like that. We're disciplined at a young age, right? We're taught to be this, that, and the third, have to get right, have to adapt, have to be this person. So when it comes into being taught, that's it. We don't care where it's coming from. We let a woman teach us. We let a man teach us, right? We let an elder teach us. We let our children teach us. We let our siblings teach us. And I think that is a huge thing for women, especially in today's time. Doesn't matter who's teaching you. Doesn't matter that this man, is it challenge? Is it doing something to your ego that, this man is humbling you, bringing a sense of humility to you? And that's why we have these clips going viral. That's why everybody wants to make a podcast, because it's so easy to have these dramatic moments where you could just clip the Black woman being stubborn. There's people building YouTube channels off of this. There's women building YouTube channels off of this. So it's hard to say, that it's just more of a lean on the men, when I'm seeing more women on YouTube trying to school women about these same circumstances, So we all both have a lot to learn, but I could even see it sometimes when I say certain things in my live stream and I see a little comment here and there, like, oh, triggered. I know I triggered that one. I know I triggered that one. I got 9-10 comments saying, Boro preach. I got 2-3 saying, who's this? But blah, blah, blah. The numbers is going to show itself. You feel me? And that's why I be hella unfiltered with my church, because it's like, nigga, I know what the fuck I'm saying. Like, I'm doing the work and I'm knowing how it could be applied to your life. So whoever wants the wisdom is going to come get it. But ego be having be getting in the way a whole lot of the time when it comes into learning.
I was telling my friend the other day, like, what happens to the guys who used to build houses? I remember when men used to be like, I built this house with my hands. What happened to those men? Especially now in this economy, we need you guys to build the houses again.
Them niggas is dying out. They dying out. They lost in their desires, Umi. That's the fuck going
on. I'm laughing at the comments. Y'all are so funny. I just want to say shout out to Sacred Owl in the building. She came in, always on point. Thank you for being here. Something you were talking about, Umi, you started talking about women who could possibly look at men coming into their spirituality as weak. I remember having this conversation with you, and you said that there was a specific type of woman when you were talking about elements. Do you just want to talk about that really quickly on what type of woman would be actually supportive of men finding spirituality and those who may not? Because you talked about the water and earth man. I just want to complete it.
It's like as I think about it, it's like a complicated perspective, like when I'm looking at it, because while you would think it's a water and earth woman that would want that, but she wants to be protected herself. So it would probably be an air or a fire woman, since she's already built on figuring out herself, autonomous. I am an individual outside of this relationship. So it would be more of how's I look at it now, An air and a fire woman that would be like, yo, babe, here's a book to read. Go, because I'm about to go. So you figure out what you're gonna do, so I can figure out what I want to do. Especially like Leo dominant women, Aries women, fire women, they're very big on their own self-expression and how you need to have your own self-expression. Where I feel like water and earth women, they would want you to build the house. And they would want to feel protected. It would be two crybabies in one room. So it just wouldn't work. It would just do emotional. Who rubs whose back? So it would be air. Because it'll be the air and the fire woman that's like, hey, I'm taking this solo trip. The air and fire woman that still loves her friends just as much as she loves you. And she would want that in your life too. So now I think about it, it would be air and fire woman. But then again, this is the same woman that might go on stage and dance with that man. So that's the thing with like, life is just sometimes like, this life is just this life. It's like my favorite movie is Crash, because in Crash, you
Love
take
that movie.
perspective based on one, but everyone has a different perspective, but it's one situation happening. One crash has like so many different lives have changed. And that's just how I look at it. Cause it's like the same woman that you're like, I'm like example, the woman that's going to be like, yo, I don't need no man to give me money. I don't need none of that. I'll do it myself. Those are the same women that are not going to be traditional. So it's what do you want, bro? Like, do you want a woman that will ally you in that way? Or traditional, the water and the earth women, even if they hate it, they'll still be like, all right, I'll just do it. But fire and air are going to be uncomfortable. But they're the ones that are going to want you to find that autonomy as well. So it's just a complicated. It's like, you got to accept people for who they are, really. That's just Saturn and Pisces, accept people for who they are.
That's a really good point to end up on. But go ahead, Boro. I see you and Lotus was itching.
No, I'm gonna make mine's brief. It's just one thing. I actually wanted to make a video about this. So what Umi just said just brought up this concept. You know, when you look at your natal chart, the most important houses, in my perspective, is the cardinal houses. Your first, fourth, seventh, 10th house. Your first house maps out your personal life path and how you take this outlook and you travel throughout the chart. We see most of our challenges with things dealing with our personal aspirations and personally expressing ourselves in the home environment, stabilizing our subconscious in our relationship life in the 7th house, and then how we represent ourselves in the world in the 10th house. And you know, a huge talk in this relationship space is men trying to help women to understand how the type of career they choose affects their relationship potential. And I started dealing with this, especially if somebody's been doing readings for years, and I look at somebody's chart and I'll be like this woman, her part of her spiritual development is to build, is to be this, that, and the third that she's striving to be. She's actually in alignment trying to be an attorney. She's actually in alignment trying to be a CEO, own her own business in some type of shape or form. But it comes down to also understanding that 7th house relationship life squares the 10th house. So whether a woman want to be a boss chick or not, motherfuckers be getting into issues just working a 9 to 5 and still be having problems in their marriages, in their relationships. So we started to condense that now into women embracing individuality, entrepreneurship in the age of Aquarius, and now we're kind of projecting on them a little bit. But women do have to manage the ego that comes with that. You're dealing with, you might be working in a space, you're around a lot of masculine energy. It's so subconscious how you feel like you got to kind of align with that, kind of put on a little bit of a masculine coat at work, and you don't really understand how you're bringing that back into your relationship, how you're bringing that back into your home environment. So there's a balance to everything. We all have to find balances with how men and women, how our 10th house aspirations affect the home. There's a man out there right now. He think because he's working overtime this many weekends and he's doing this, that, and the third to build stability, he's thinking he's doing everything he got to do is for his family, not even knowing what his son's report card look like. The mom knows, not knowing what the behavior and like is in the home, but he's like, yo, you see what I'm doing? I'm busting my ass, this, that, and the third. So these are dual concepts that could go both ways, but I would just like to throw that gem out there just for women to understand. Like, don't be careful with how, the matrix is projecting on y'all for y'all fulfilling your own individual aspirations, building and structuring things in the world. Just be careful how you manage the attitude that you need to build with the attitude to nurture, and understand when you're in both environments, and that'll help out a whole lot. All right, it ain't nothing with a woman jumping into some. I'm on a panel with some bosses right now. Shit.
I was gonna say that I think that even just that as well is what is also prompting the narrative when it comes to male healing and what is a man as well and what should men do, because a lot of women, especially yes in this age and with internet, we are very much able to be boss babes more. And a lot of men are having an identity crisis, because who are you if you're not bringing in the money? Who are you if you're not, quote unquote, the only one providing? Or maybe your woman is providing more because she's making more money in her business or whatever. And I think that's where we are. It's like, can we not just be these one things? Like, we're human beings. So Umi made the thing of like earthmen seeing women more and being like, well, I already cook, I already do this, what do you now bring to me? I feel like we need to get to a space where we're just human beings. Like, are we an okay human being? Are we a healthy human being? Because all of this, like, what a man should do and what a woman should do, I feel like there's just no conversation around that won't be divisive or divisive. I just feel like we need to for us to respect each other. Yes, we need to understand femininity. We have to understand masculinity. But what I truly hope for the age of Aquarius is that, can we just look at the other person as a human fucking being? Like, you're a human being, I'm a human being. How do we now balance our energies together? And that's fucking it. I don't like all these roles, all of these prescribed things from the Matrix. Like, it may not matter, because your dynamic with someone could be totally different than what is okay and what's normal and what's prescribed. And just like Umi saying with the earthmen, they feeling like, I need to be like this. Like, sometimes he might just be with a fire woman and she might just be on her shit and she don't need all of that. So I'm just saying, like, can we, I don't know, like, will we ever get to a space where we can respect each other and just deal with each other as just human beings, as just fucking human beings? We all have emotion, we all shit, we all eat, we all need to feel supported and loved, and it just is what it is. It just is what it is. What do you guys feel like it will take for us to get here? Or even astrologically, like with the transits and stuff, I know we moved from Taurus Scorpio nodes, so that was a whole woman versus men thing. Now we're in Aries Libra, Mars versus Venus again. Will it take for us to move into Pisces Virgo? Like, are we going to reach a period where we can literally just treat each other like other human beings?
I
know that's a loaded question.
I definitely think that when the North Node shifts into Pisces, that will be a period where more soulmates are aligned with each other, because Pisces rules soulmates. And so I think that the people doing the healing work now, like, don't be discouraged, because like our time is coming. We're just waiting for the gears to click into place, so to speak. But also building off what Boro and Umi said, like, as an air and fire dominant woman, like, yes, I do want to pair with someone who can allow me to not have to operate in the masculine energies all the time. I want someone where, like, I don't know if you've seen the TikTok where she's like, I want to be able to like turn my brain off essentially and just like look pretty, and my man got this. Like, I don't have to think. I'm here. Okay. I'm here. I'm enjoying what we're doing. I'm present. I don't have to be like thinking and doing all these other things. I also, I think what Burrow was saying, it's like finding a balance between, like, if you are the boss at work, who's going to be the boss at home, and finding balance in that. And I think it's very important to provide an environment for each other where whatever you decide, whoever is taking which roles, like, the other one supports that. You support each other in those roles. Like, I don't want to be the boss at home. I want to be like cooking and doing the things, because like I am a Taurus, like I want to be doing the feminine things, but the Aries North Node with Chiron right now, I really think, like, I'm really hoping that this is encouraging that healing of balancing the self and how you operate as your healthy version of you as an autonomous adult in relationships, and letting go of the toxic ways of being in relationship, but prioritizing yourself and your needs. Because like, how are you a healthy individual outside of relationship? How do you identify and meet your own needs first so that you can, you know, be a good partner and find a healthy balance?
Absolutely. Go
I
ahead.
want to jump on just that, especially with the Saturn, with the South Node, where it'll start to quincunx. What I'm seeing, what is even coming up right now is where we need to stop faking it. Fake relate, like a theme that, especially as Jupiter was moving into Piscean, as we move further, like further into Saturn being in Piscean, I'm just trying to center it in my mind. Especially so between 21 to now, a lot of these YouTube couples, these couples where you're like, oh my God, their goals, and how they're now the background, the undoing, the subconscious, the stuff that we don't really like, we didn't really know about them, are not coming forward. So I think that's another thing with this transit, where we just got to tell the realities of what goes on between couples. That there's going to be just certain types of misunderstandings, that people are really still going through things, that on this social media, there's a lot of projection. Women are still, yes, enduring. Women are still going through things. Like one of the things that I, especially as like a mother and being in a committed relationship, I really like when I see other women complaining in the comments, especially about things that I only thought that I was complaining about. I'm like, oh shit, we all going through this. So all this fake progression about your man better pay 100%. You know how many women I see in the comments are like, yo, I work. This guy just sits at home. I'm like, damn, I'm not talking about one. I'm talking about a few women here. So I think a big thing is that we need to stop faking it. Like, you know, we can't even handle what's being projected as the typical and what you should be and what you should, especially if you can't even handle that. Like I think Severin, sprinkle, I think she's a Piscean.
Kira.
Yeah,
I wanted to pull up her chart, but
she's a Pisces Sun, Leo Moon, Venus, and Aquarius.
Thanks for that.
Just with her Piscean energy and how she's also like a character, a fantasy for some women.
Yeah.
And she knows that. She knows a lot of women are not going to do what she says. She's a projection. And that's a big thing just with her becoming alive at this time. A projection.
Because she's been in the game for a long time.
I know that recently, since like TikTok, she's blew up from like last year into this year. But yeah, I used to follow her. Like I used to be like, what? I was on my shit. I need to be unbroken. So I was like following her. So, but even with that energy there, like projections. I see this big theme. Like I know a lot of people are like Beyonce and Jay-Z. We're gonna find out about them. That basis there. There is something in the air where we need to stop projecting these ideals. Goals are not what we think it is. And just with the Piscean energy at this moment and Virgo energy, they're the ones that are being exposed right now, or exposing people.
Mm-hmm. Jada.
Yeah, exposing people. So just what this transit is about, tell the truth, be transparent, and how a lot of these relationships are going to show us how a lot of people don't tell the truth, that they're projecting a lot of these ideals, and we're following people that are liars, that are punching each other as they get off the camera, like knocking each other out, choking each other and shit.
I just think it's so weird to say goals about someone else's relationship. Like I have never desired someone else's relationship. I think that that's mad weird, because like you have no idea what goes on behind closed doors. So I don't ever like, you know, say that spell over myself. Like the relationship I desire, I don't see a real life example of that anywhere. So I don't know.
I like to say too, like when people are always operating in the extreme, there's something that's gonna come balance that energy. I like to, like Shira, to me, I love her, but like you said, it's an ideal, and not every woman is gonna get that, and someone is gonna try the same tactics, and it's not gonna work. Like it's not gonna work for everyone. And then like I look at guys who used to be like Andrew Tate, who was like another extreme. And then I agree with you when you say, Umi, that like sometimes people are selling things and they sound good, but can we now really apply that to the real life? And when you apply that to the real life, like they're like, don't go on a date unless a man sends you $300. Like, I get it. That sounds so fucking empowering when you've been maybe disempowered or have your heart broken so many times. But for real, apply that in real life.
It's so wild to me because, like, where are they even finding these men that just be tricking off shit like this? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, who's just giving away shit all the time? Like, oh, I don't know you, but you know, here's a like, and here goes $1,000. Like, what? Like.
And then I feel like it's hurting the conversation, and it's a little bit hypocrite because now we're like, oh, you want to go on a date with me, send me $300. But then we're like, on the other side, we're saying like men should not like identify with like over-identify with money and financials, and they should learn to love themselves, even if like blah, blah, blah. So there is a lot that is being unpacked right now. And yeah, I'm happy we're having this conversation because it shows like, on the same side, we're like, I want this. And then we're like, no, you need to send me $300. So yeah, it's a lot.
I want to just jump in with that because there are some women that can do that. Like fixed women, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, they can get men to send them $300 for sitting still.
For sure.
like capacity. So I
don't know. My shit must be broken because like that's never been me ever. I've always been the one with the money. Always.
Now,
and
what
I
see with that
align with some man who just wants to just like throw money in my direction. It's never been that.
Now, what I see with that, like just like when I see that in sessions, because I understand it as well. I'm fixed dominant, so I've been in a breadwinner, like more of that position. These placements usually have some sort of attachment with resources with a family member. So there's either some sort of coddling going on where maybe there's the parent is a trick, or a parent, and now they can't separate how they've learned to attach material from this parent based on how they attach it with this partner. Because once they learn to disattach this idea with money from a parent, fixed energy, like men who could get women to sign cars for them, like live off them, fixed men. Whoa, fixed men, they can be like, a woman will walk blindly. That's why that Aquarius, Misa Aquarius, yeah.
Who did I marry?
They can bring in, and you said he was a Scorpio, had Scorpio, yes, they can bring in spaces where they're like able to leverage that kind of resource off women. But I feel like fixed women and mutable energy. Why mutable energy? Because they could trick your mind. They could be like, yeah, do this. Suitable women, Piscean women are good at that. Like Piscean women can get men to flow like water. And I think Taurus too. Taurus women, fixed women, I think can do it. It's just they have to separate resources with shame in some way where it's like, I'm not good enough. And then once they separate that, they'll come into that space. It's Cassie, Taurus moon. She separated from her shame, baby, Taurus moon, and she moved into what she needs to do. Corinne Steffen, Superhead, Taurus moon, separated from her shame, boom. I feel like once fixed placements separate from that shame, money will drop on them. Flow. Megan Thee Stallion, flow. Fixed women usually have it. Mars women too. Mars women are pretty sexy. So they'll do that. They'll be able to get that basis there, but they're also dominant. But fixed women, I think they're really good at getting men to pay it up, run it up, baby. And also they are tricks themselves. Fixed women are tricks.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for that one.
So, just that leverage there. There'll be a fixed woman that's like, what? I didn't get a gift? Yeah, we're breaking up, man. I'm fixed dominant. So that's my love language because I'm a great gift giver. So fixed women can bring that leverage. And Piscean, I think because they're Venus dominant, that they're super.
Yeah, that's funny. The last person I was dating was a Virgo rising. And on one of our last dates, he had complained about the bill, which was $80. And he wanted to split it. So it's like, I'm not worth 40 measly fucking dollars. And I was immediately turned off, and it just like shit fell apart real quick after that.
That's what I mean with the Virgo. They're like, girl, I'm human too. Like, I can cook for myself. I could have cooked before I came here. That's why Virgo men, they're like weird in how they live with women. It's one of those placements where they will be okay with not living with women in some way. They want to sex them a lot. that might be their thing, but the living. But yeah, Virgo, like my dad's a Virgo. He'd be like, "What you did? You didn't call me. Why I need to call you?"
I can't do cheap. I cannot fucking do cheap, especially when I know your ass got it. Like, quit fucking playing.
Go ahead, Boro.
Now, I was just gonna say,
You've been
like,
quiet.
ladies, I'm letting y'all get it out because I know I'm finna drop some bombs too. And for the most part, for one, I definitely just believe in, regardless of transits, is you gonna do the personal work to move yourself in more of a healthier space in life to just attract healthier people, places, and things, opportunities in the first place. So let's start there. That's one. Two, you know, I see that. Okay, I'm gonna use Shira for example. I'm gonna use her for example. Now, I've seen many clips of her before. I said, you know what? Let me watch an actual whole live stream of her. And because I feel like it's so easy for a woman to have a concept about somebody like Kevin Samuels seeing a bunch of clips until they sit down and watch a live stream. So I said, I'm not gonna just allow TikTok or whatever. Let me watch a whole live stream of her. And that woman be on the money. She be giving women, in my personal perspective, I feel like she gives women so much advice that will just help women reel a man in. She's like, ladies, you have to go to the bar, smile at the man, smile at him, like flip your hair, like these are simple little things. And I think women downplay how much men study y'all, how much we study y'all, how much we look at y'all mannerisms, how everything. I think women don't really understand that, maybe because society got y'all thinking we just some workhorse unintelligent niggas. Like, our species don't think, with us being the logical, rational ones here. Not saying women aren't intelligent, but y'all more intuitive in dealing with the subconscious, right? So I just use her for example. Why is it seems like as far as men, majority men, we kind of get it, like, all right, yo, bros, get stable, get on your shit, and that's what the women want. And we on that journey to do that. But women, sometimes it just seems like these little concepts, whether a man is trying to tell y'all or Shira or another woman is trying to tell y'all, it's like, do I gotta do all of that to get a nigga? Like, why I gotta do all that to reel a man in? It's like, then what do you want to do? What do you want to do? You just want this. You think relationships, you think there's no work in attracting what you desire and sustaining it? What do you want? Women, y'all magical as hell. I believe women have more power in this realm because I look at Earth as a feminine space. When we born, we don't we take a breath in, we receive, we inhale. So that alone could show you this is a feminine space. We hold the doors for y'all. Y'all get $20 off before 9 coming into the club. Okay, but in different type of ways, and that's not to go against the ideologies Umi was also expressing, as far as men having to evolve out of predatory energy as well, right? I think that's the cousin of the concept of me talking about men evolving out of their desires. Okay, but then again, I feel like that kind of brings me back to the concept of, like, sometimes I think it's hard for women to be taught these things, especially because we know men, we seek y'all, right? We seek y'all, we want to approach y'all, we want to hunt. We like lions and tigers in the jungle. We want to hunt our woman, right? We want to compete for our woman. But then when you get in a space as a woman that you feel like, a man has to compete for you this way or has to compete for you that way, you don't have to do no work. You don't have to put on your nice little lady lioness walk in the jungle and show the men, like, look who's here. You just feel like, yeah, what y'all niggas gonna do? Who gonna fight for me? It's like, damn, where's the effort at y'all part, or the effort to actually learn how to attract what y'all say y'all want? And I feel like for men, we're just way more simple in that aspect. Like, yo, bro, get stable, get on your shit, be dependable, be a responsible man. Women gonna flock. Or you'll be able to pick the woman you said you want. You bitching on social media about this, that, third. I want a traditional woman. I want this, that, and third. All right, do what you got to do to get that woman. Do what you got to do. They're out there. Don't try to change the women that are not that to all conform to that. Everybody's different. I'm not going to deal with a woman that's quote unquote masculine, aggressive, and try to train her to be feminine and be out of her energy. There's a nigga that's going to want to deal with that, And if she feels like she's dealing with type of unsuccessful experiences in her relationships, at some point you gotta look in the mirror just like everybody else has to, when they're not manifesting what they desire in career, desiring what they creative endeavors, desiring in relationships. Y'all know we just did a relationship master class about to be 2 weeks ago, guys. It had a lot to do with shifting your frequency vibration into getting what you want. Okay, so once again, I try my best to be so delicate with how I choose my words. It's hard because I know I'm always expressing myself in a passionate ass way. But as far as the words I choose, I try to be so delicate so women can understand, like, damn, maybe I gotta move myself into more of a studious space. Even though I'm a woman, that nigga's supposed to come and present himself to me and establish himself how much he want me on Valentine's Day and do this, that, and the third. As I do believe a man should let a woman know, like, yo, I want you. I'm intentional. I'm not playing games. I'm not floating with you. I'm not having you. I'm not gonna be dating you and you going home thinking like, damn, does he really want me? Like, I don't know where this is really going. Is this gonna be a situation? No, men have to be fucking intentional. Let that woman know where you stand, okay? So she could do a better job trying to mold into what is it you trying to, the environment you're trying to create. But can you be can you deal with the sense of humility to learn, to be studious about what you want to manifest? And I think that is a huge issue right there, from my perspective as a man, from my personal dating experiences, and just how I study things going on out in the world.
So just to be devil's advocate, where is the upper echelon hunting grounds located? Where's the forest where the spiritual, woke, healing men do their hunting at, so to speak? Because it's easy for the attraction part. It's easy for women to glamour magic to get the attention. But like, where's the higher caliber attention at?
Is a very small percentage. Is a very small percentage. There's a very small percentage of women that I would say men would jump off of a roof for, and there's a very small percentage of men that y'all would deem as being spiritually stable plus financially stable. You know, like, these are small percentage of people, and that's why the majority of the world kind of complaining a little bit, because you're mad about how the world seems and how relationships stand. The third is like, all right, well, you do what you got to do to move yourself into this small percentage of people. That might be an extreme mentality. I can sit here and take accountability and say that might be an extreme mentality that I might evolve out of a year or two from now. But I do believe in that, because I have peers that believe they should have this type of woman, that type of woman in my life. And I'm like, yo, bro, why would a woman want to deal with you? Why would that caliber of a woman want to deal with you? I would tell my own male friend peers this. You feel me? And that's why I feel like personally, you know, when I say I'm not settling for a certain woman in my personal life, that's not operating out of ego. It's operating out of the work I do. It's operating out of what I know I bring to the table. It's operating out of the fact that I know she's always going to be able to depend on me from a spiritual, emotionally, financially stable position. Yeah. All right. And that's just natural confidence. But I think that has to be, that's only going to manifest that confidence through real work. Like, as simple as that. Like, you know? Drops mic.
Still didn't get a cheat code in there, but I feel like I don't know, doing the things.
Go ahead, Umi.
A while ago, I met this, like, I was dating this guy, so a long time ago. So I was dating this guy. He was like, you tell a woman that you're doing semen retention and she's gonna call you gay. She's gonna be like, why aren't you on me, on my body? Why aren't you, like, some women, like, we need to all get out of this predatory, like, mindset, because some women really feel like they, or just in certain dynamics, so not just women and men, just in dynamics, that I need to own you. I need to impose myself on you. That's how you know that you're mine. And once we all get out of this predatory mindset, we'll like we were speaking on our last live, like a whole talk on sexuality, like a whole talk on processing in the psyche. Because the spiritual men will tell you, I'm seeing retention. No, we can't hang out every day. This weekend I need to do the gym and I can't see you.
I'm fasting.
No, I remember on Girlfriends, Lynn wanted to have sex with, I forgot what his name was, but on
dude with the dreads.
Lynn broke up with the guy because she wouldn't have sex with him. And she was like, I don't get it. I'm spiritual, but this guy's too spiritual for me. So like, just that process. And that's why I always like when I do sessions with men, they're going to have water, they're going to have earth, and they're going to say this to me. Like, and that's the only reason why they would even come and do a session in this way. Because if not, like, if they didn't come in this space of wanting to heal, they would stay in those predatory mindsets. A lot of water men and earth men can't stay in those predatory mindsets. I think as a collective, once we come out of that mindset, because like even when I'm looking through the comments, women are like, yo, I'm cooking in the freaking kitchen and this guy's just touching my titties, touching my butt. Like, hello, I'm busy. Like, that base is there. But we live in this whole mindset of, if he doesn't touch me, is he cheating? Oh my God. Like, you know, like just this base is here. So once we all get out of this, like, I own you.
I own you.
There, it will all flow in ways. But yeah, it will be water and earth men that will tell you, like, I don't want to live with a woman, or I like, for them to find that awareness, because the most men, for them to find spirituality, they have to leave desire, like, completely. Most spiritual men, they're gonna go through all these things where you're like, you might even ask them, are you, do you
Are
like
you
women?
Yeah,
Women, they're so okay. So I'm only saying this, and I was telling my boyfriend that if people knew I watched him, they'd be like, "Yo, what the hell?" So I follow Corey, Corey Halom.
I don't know what that is.
So
Corey Holcomb, the comedian, or somebody else?
yes,
Corey
yes. So him, and he's like so like misogynist, right? Like, Jesus Christ. So but men follow this guy. Men you would think that are the good guys. They're like, yes, truth. So it's just this idea as well, like, where and he's being honest. He's just letting you know. And he even says it, when women wear no clothes, men are gonna bite it. He says it just like that. Run, women, men are gonna chase you down the street. And I know that's wrong. And that's why I understand it too. It's not fair that we can't wear what we want to wear. We can't do what we want to do, but we have to get out of this predatory mindset, because yes, women are getting attacked, but men in this collective, it's just, I can talk about it for days.
Hold on. So we're gonna end with this this question. I know the conversation has been going, it's been going good. Everyone in the comments, like, I just want to respect y'all time. Thank you guys again for being here, giving your honest opinion, everything like that. This has been a freaking great, engaging conversation. What would you say what would love be like, or what's your vision, whatever it is, of love in the Aquarian age? Because it seems that all of this shit is coming up right now, because we're moving into an age where, yes, gender roles maybe play a thing. We don't know, because sometimes I see a lot of, I think that's what we're even seeing with the, I don't identify as any gender. I'm genderless. I'm this, I'm that. I'm trying to think of also Bob Marley, who was very Aquarian, and him having how many wives on his compound and blah, blah, blah. What does love look like? And this could be very speculative, like, it's totally okay, in this Aquarian age and going forward. Like, let's say we do get through all of this, what do you feel like the highest ideal or whatever would be?
Can I ask you what you mean specifically when you say when we get through all of this?
So I'm meaning, like, let's say we come through a space where we're like, okay, as a man, woman, I respect you. I respect femininity. I respect you. And women look at a man and be like, okay, I respect you. Or just in the Aquarius realm in general, because a part of me feels like shit will never be ideal or perfect. Like, we've never lived on Earth during a period where things were like perfect, right? Or whatever. So what would it look like in the Aquarian age, if we can say it like that? The next level, the next space, the next paradigm for relationship. That's my question. Make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah, I get you.
Next paradigm for a relationship.
Well, I feel like modern dating and relationship activity is always going to transform in correlation to the civilization we're living in and what's going on in them times. When it was the caveman era, the woman wasn't talking about like, you got it. You gonna sit in the cave today. I'm gonna hunt some of this buffalo. All right, I could do it too. So we've seen the extreme of the man being a man and the woman being a woman, right? Then things started transpiring. We see how relationship dynamics change with civilization. Now where we're at today, age of Aquarius. Aquarius is one of the most transactional signs in the zodiac. One of the most, it is what it is. Like, they're Saturn ruled, they're air, so they're really logical. They're very detached at times, and then they're damn near androgynous. So it's like, shit. Aquarius could be one year be like, I don't even want a female. Aquarius be like, I don't want to deal with a nigga. I want to date a girl this year. Like, so they're changeable in that type of way. Uranus energy, right? Uranus is damn near the only androgynous planet. We don't know if it's masculine, feminine for real. We really don't really know. So when I look at the dynamic of modern dating today, it comes down to really how people are able to detach themselves from programs of society to manifest more of a natural influence inside of their lives. And I think that's what's really destroying a lot of the potential people, is destroying the start of somebody dealing with their healing journey, because you're too attached to a program, a concept of what you think love is, what you think your partner should be doing for you. Umi was just talking about something about, you know, us looking like we own our partners in some type of shape. But this is a whole human being. This is not real estate. This person has their own consciousness. You don't own nothing. Okay, so you know, we have to get to a space where the age of Aquarius doesn't push us into this extreme transactional space of what we feel like should be done for us in our relationships, and really try our best to embrace spiritual development. I always tell people spiritual development will get you everything you need in life. Not everything you want, everything you need. Okay, so when it comes into you being able to be like, damn, I can't believe all these, like, once again, like, guys, like me and my peers, we talk about this ourselves. We like, yo, these niggas be, a lot of these niggas is just bitter. Some of these niggas be giving some gems, this and the third, about what they say about women, but like, damn, a lot of these dudes be bitter. A lot of these dudes is too extreme. A lot of and then how is that affecting the youth? You know, all these different type of influences. So it's really hard to kind of, you know, predict how I feel modern dating influences will transform in the midst of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. But I have seen how it has become very transactional in the age of Aquarius, and I've seen Aquarius technology, the internet. I've seen how that is the main source of what's driving things with relationship activity. There's a bunch of people right now, if they get off social media for 6 months, I mean, might flip depression in 90 days, might find a mate in 30. Just get off of it. You're not even using it for nothing for real. Like, if I wasn't using social media to like build or teach, I wouldn't really be on it. I got a personal page. I don't post on it. I don't be on it, right? Because I don't need to have things filter my mind for me. Okay, I'd rather do that in isolation. So I think that's the most important thing. Be able to identify how the ways of the world are affecting how you look at relationship activity, and are you doing what you can to get closer to source and be detached from all of these things, so you can attract what's really for you. Because we all have something waiting for us. We all have different mates. All of us here, we all derived from a soul body, and we split up when we incarnated, reincarnated. There's people here, divine connections. Are you moving yourself away from these people and don't even realize it? They waiting for you. And that's my personal belief. All right. So that's what I have to say about that.
Lotus, what do you feel like the next paradigm of relationship could possibly look like?
I can see two extremes for relationships for Pluto and Aquarius. One, I can see things being totally like cyber shit, you know, like everything is going to be in them fucking goggles and shit. And there's going to be like, it's going to be, you know, like digital pussy. Like, it's going to be, you know, digital strip club. You're a woman, you're going to be wearing suits and things where like she could be doing something and you're never touching her, but like you can feel it, you know, like Ready Player One. It's going to be like this. I think that they're going to be selling it in this way also. I think it's going to be digitized in this type of way, because even though Aquarius is the collective, I also see Pluto as, you know, destroying the collective. So it is destroying connection. It is synthesizing the connections. It's making them fake and taking away the organic element of connections. But I can also see it in another way where there's more communal poly shit, where people are like, well, you know, we only have one man in a 10-mile radius who didn't get the schmab, and he's the only one with viable goods. So we're all going to share him, and we're all going to have babies with him, kind of thing, you know, because like the people have to still survive and reproduce. But I also see just like redefining what it is to be in community. And maybe these communities are going to be, you know, sharing each other's, you know, sexual parts, and also homesteading together, because I mean, taking care of agriculture, especially if you're not growing in like a permaculture way, like it's very high maintenance. You need a lot of hands on deck. I don't know. That's
two
what
two things I have to say to
dreams.
that. Two things I have to say to that. I loved what you just said. You talked about the like online pussy, and that just reminds me of Blade Runner. I don't know if you guys all see that movie with Ryan Gosling, and he's with his girlfriend, and she is basically like a AI kind of person. And I actually love the movie. It's one of my favorite movies, but I definitely do think that we are moving towards some sort of era where we will have digital partners, whether they'll be holograms or not. I think we
Yeah, or
might get
robots.
to the,
Some
yeah.
robots.
Listen, I do talk about this a lot in my regular circle. I'm like, if we do get robots, I feel like I might be an activist, because if they gain consciousness, I'm totally not okay with random.
Westworld was one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen, and I just
What?
like Westworld
Mm,
was one of the most terrifying
Black
things I've
Mirror.
ever seen. And I think like it raises so many weird ethical gray areas because
Yeah.
like now they're like you're a slave, you're creating a
And you're
slave.
fucking them. Yeah. You're
forcing
their creator.
someone.
You're their creator, but now you're having like intercourse with them. So yeah, I would definitely probably be an advocate for robot rights. But I think we're gonna see definitely an age of, like Bora was saying, like, you know, we already are kind of seeing it with OnlyFans, right? So if it could be more in your face, more like with the goggles, like you could see the booty bouncing and the titties right there. maybe it'll be like that. Gosh, I feel like we have nothing positive to say, but maybe the second thing to what you said, Lotus, you talked about communal, and maybe we'll share in a community. I feel like that touches Umi's point of like we need to learn to not own a person, and I think like we can only share if we realize we don't actually own anyone. So it's giving very much Brave New World, but it is what it is. Umi, I'm gonna let you close us off.
So even with that, definitely when you talked about the poly, yes, that was a big thing. Like even since Aquarius is a financial sign, it might be beneficial to group up with some people to even buy a house right now, buy a property the way the market is going. It's even big on group economics, where grouping with communities more than 2-3 individuals to like funnel money, funnel opportunities together. That may be more the initiative when it comes to the love themes. Also, like to look at cycles. So last time we had like a major Aquarius transit was when Neptune moved into it. And 98. So we're looking at AOL, AIM, right? We're looking at virtual way to look at partners. What is your ASL? That era, right? We're back in it. So right now, a lot of people are finding their soulmates through dating websites, social media. Social media is actually even a space that's killing relationships. There's some people that are like, because it's ideal on social media, I can't even really
Baby, it's a predator breeding ground. It's a predator's breeding ground in these online dating apps.
I don't think dating apps is healthy. I think dating apps is strictly for desire.
It's so predatory and low chakra. It's like, it's frightening. Like, it is frightening, the men that I have encountered and some of the experiences I've had with that shit. It's like, I can't.
Plus, we're creating also like a generation who actually doesn't know anything about like actually going up to someone. Like, it's scary, but when you talk to real young people, and you're like, you know, it's just like, oh, we swiped, we matched, and it's like, damn, like y'all don't even go out with people in your school no more. It's just like people that they match with. So it's kind of scary where we're just like literally just choosing people like a buffet. So there's this human thing again where it's like we're not even, the connection is severed by the online. But Omi, I'm gonna let you continue.
So back to like placements, right? There's just going to be also certain placements that find love online, like Capricorns, Aquariuses, Libras, Cardinals. They're workaholics. They don't have time to go into the freaking club sometimes. So, and even when they go into the club, they're like, hey, what's your resume? Pull your resume out. What you been doing up? What you been up to? So they might like the fact that they see where you live, what job you have, how old you are, what your interests are. They already have a full rundown of who you are. like during the sessions that I've been doing, it's a lot of these cardinal women, Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, that are finding a lot of love online. Aquarius too, but maybe for other types of kinks to add on that. But cardinal women may find that easier as well. Now, another thing with mutable women may like long distance relationships where they're traveling. So they may like the fact that there's more of this online basis. So there's going to be specific signs that are into specific, like certain transits where it's great for them. Another thing I wanted to add on is that cycles, right? So when was the last time we were in like something big in Aquarius? Yes, Saturn in Aquarius, but we also had the South Node in Aquarius. So around 2017, as we were coming into that, as we walked into that Uranus in Taurus. So another thing that was popular around that time was sex dolls. And that's another thing I think that's going to be a thing that comes back, like gets more full force. Even when have you seen in the past couple of months, the different type of sex toys, the rolls, all of that, there's going to be more of that. If you're a fixed sign, Taurus and Scorpios, get into that. That might be your bag.
Let me go find a niche.
Selling that fantasy box, that might be your shit. So so that's the other thing I see with this transit as well. The holograms, yes, all of that, but also like a sex doll, sex toys, self-pleasure, self-love in that way too. So I think that's going to be an important thing with the transit.
Thank y'all so much. Thank all of y'all. This was a great conversation. We went so many places with this conversation. Let me know in the chat, y'all, if you enjoyed this conversation. If you want more conversations like this, let us know in the chat. Give all of your favorite astrologers up here almost 3 fucking hours. Give them some love, please. I want to see some love in the chats. I want to see some hearts, some fires in the chat. Like, this was a marathon. But thank you all for being here. Before we go, I just want to just talk about our masterclass really quickly. Bora, I'm gonna just move you from the screen. Sorry, it's a girls' night only, but we're gonna bring you back up towards the end. So it's a girls' night only for our masterclass. So if you like tonight's conversation and you as a woman, you are trying to see where you fit in this age, in this new age, and you want to know what you specifically bring to the table based on your chart, I am definitely inviting y'all to come to our masterclass tomorrow. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about, what you specifically based on your placement, your Venus placement, plus some houses we're going to look at, what you bring to the table. So you can feel confident actually, saying, this is me, this is what I bring, and knowing your value. So this is what the masterclass is going to be about, all about our inherent value as women, but as well within our chart. I just want to show y'all a quick visual and show y'all how cute it is. And we're going to bring back up everyone to just see our last things. Give me 1 second. This should be it. Hold on. Oh no. Are y'all seeing a screen? Nope. Okay. Let me see. So
let us know in the chat if you already reserved your spot in the masterclass too.
Lotus, if you can drop the link in the chat too, would be amazing. So let me just show y'all this little visual we got going on. But yes, tomorrow, women only. Make sure that you guys are looking good, feeling good, smelling good. It is optional, but we are coming all looking good. You can come with lingerie, anything that make you feel good, silk, pajamas, whatever. Come with your favorite drink of choice or whatever you want to bring, and we're going to be there for you. So it's the Master Your Magnetism Masterclass tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. And we also have a giveaway going on. So just check all of that on Instagram and you guys will see it. Topics, what gifts you bring to the cosmic table, where you create and attract value to you, what makes you extra attractive to people, plus your seduction type, healing your relationship with Venus, tapping into your magnetism, and so much more. So make sure to come out, reserve now, bring your favorite wine, drink, crystals, journal, bring your journal because we're going to be dropping some tea. and come looking and feeling good and just ready for our all girls night, where we talk about our self-worth and we really reclaim our self-worth, our value, and our power as women. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Lotus, for dropping that in the chat. I'm gonna bring back Boro up here because Boro as well, the love guru. He also had a masterclass last week called "What's Love Got to Do with It." The replay is currently up in the link in his bio. Definitely check that. Also, for all the women who are like in relationships or who have questions about their love. Boro, I'm gonna let you say it a little bit better. My brain's tired. But it was a great masterclass. I was a part of the masterclass, helped him set it up, create it, and produce it. And it was basically learning relationship 101, learning your placements, your mating seasons in relationships, and learning your love languages, what you also attract in a partner, what you may like in a partner, what you give off in a partnership. So that replay, y'all can find it at his on his Instagram. But thank y'all so much for coming out. I love this team. Y'all have done amazing. This conversation went so much like everywhere. And oh, hold on. Someone's saying the link is not working. Check our Instagram. Our Instagram bio should have the link. If not, I posted it a couple times tonight. But yeah. Thank you to the Hood Guru. Thank you, Umi Genevieve, Lace Down Space. Thank you, Lotus Elysse from the Lotus Botanica. You guys are amazing. Thank y'all for being here. I'm gonna let y'all just say your outros, and everyone, we will see you next week. Go ahead.
It's an honor to share the panel with you wise, beautiful women. All right. I think you guys are being a great example for everybody that's tapped in with y'all. I learned from all of y'all. All right. So once again, it's just an opportunity that I'm, humbled to embrace. Shout out to everybody in the church. All right, guys. Hope you guys felt like you learned, you spiritually expanded from tonight, and have a good rest of the week.
Yes, always a pleasure to collaborate with you guys. It was such a fun conversation. I love learning from all of you and picking your brain and being able to talk like this and like debate and discuss and do things in real time. It's a lot of fun sharing space with you guys and putting the collective on game.
Love that.
As always, thank you, Sharice, for allowing me to be on the growth project. Always, thank you for helping me showcase this. So always so grateful for you for life. And thank you to all of you as well. All the supporters, everyone who helps me continue to study this. Thank you to both of you. Thank you to Lotus. Thank you to Burrow. Thank you. And it's like so good finding people that like what you like. Right? Like you're always like the only person that likes what you like. So when you find like a group of people that likes what you like, you're like, oh shit. So thank you, family. Thank you. See y'all tomorrow, everybody. See y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, see y'all in class tomorrow.
Perfect. So thank y'all again every night. And as always, tune into the Growth Project for more interviews like this, more motivational content, more spiritual, inspirational content. Y'all know over here, we're just all about growing into our best selves. So thank y'all thank you to everyone, and I will see you next week and tomorrow for those of you joining the masterclass. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.